can't see right through, right through, right through, down through the wires and the pipelines. We go disconnecting from the city and the skyline. Counting up coins for a soda can, and there's nothing going on, no game plan, no plans. So I'm jumping out the fire, back into the frying pan. I'm trying to disconnect from the stats and the spray tans. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and it's alright. That's when you remember who you are. That's when you remember who you are. Who you are. Who you are. Who you are. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and it's alright. That's when you remember who you are. That's when you remember who you are. Who you are. Who you are. That's when you remember who you are. Who you are. Who you are. That's when you remember who you are. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and it's alright. That's when you remember who you are.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the road to EWC. We're back with one last game and one last slot of the main event up for grabs today. Tom, before we get into all the Valorant action, how are you doing on this beautiful evening?
I'm doing all right. I had a nice early day. Went for a walk outside, touched grass even. You know, sometimes that does happen, but I think it was necessary after what was such a long set of games yesterday, all of the best of threes going to 3 maps. I think I needed some fresh air.
yeah, I think I found myself also in need of a recharge, so a couple hours of Juno and some iced tea got me ready for today, Tom. It is going to be a belter, I'll tell you that, because yesterday what we got to see was a very interesting game and somewhat of a surprise. BBL managing to take the dub in the last game of the day. But it's not just them. It's the fact that we expected to see Fnatic here, and we get Navi in their place as well. Both of these teams, it feels like, really digging deep to make that run to Paris.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like something that has to be talked about is the manner in which Fnatic kind of choked out that game from 7-0 up in the third map. It looked like it was done deal. We were even saying it was a done deal, but Navi managing to claw that game back from them was very, very surprising. But again, it shows the resilience. I think especially Bruxic had an utterly insane match. But of course, we do have our format. We are right at the end, that final qualification match. You can see the best of 5 in phase 2. And we will be getting our third team from this qualifier, our 5th team for EMEA overall, of course, getting an extra slot because we won last year in the form of Heretics. Then Vitality took the slot for winning, but because Heretics won, finishing 2nd in EMEA. And then we've already had Mates and KC. And now we come down to our 5th and final team, Navi versus BBL. 1 slot remaining. We've already said goodbye to Eternal Fire, Team Liquid, Fnatic, and Foot from this list. And of course, it is the last 2 to decide who goes through.
And of course, you saw in the format there that in phase 1, we had teams seeded 9 through 12 within VCT EMEA coming to battle. And we saw Pacific and Giant X fall out early on. But 2 teams that did make that run from the previous stage, from phase 1 all the way through here to phase 2, all the way through to, in one case, qualification, and in the other, our lower bracket final to fight for qualification. We had KC and Navi, teams that really stunk when it came to VCT EMEA, especially for KC. They didn't get a win on the board. The only map they could win was Haven, and outside of that, they got destroyed. But they came in here to the EWC qualifier, and they have dug deep. You could see that KC beat Fnatic to make it through. Gentlemates beat Foot. And for KC and Navi, those deep runs from phase 1 come to a head. Obviously, KC's is finished, but for Navi, BBL, all that stands in the way of their qualification to EWC. It is quite a big task, though. You're not just facing BBL, but you're facing BBL after they have beaten both Turkish teams back to back. They defeated Eternal Fire. They defeated Foot as well. They come in now heralding the sort of that they're the best team in the region, at least off of that run. This is old meta. There's a lot to consider, so it's not going to be a finite thing, but in their mind, they have proven that they're the best. They are the champion of Turkey within EWC.
Oh, for sure. I think we saw the tweets from yesterday. I think they were definitely hyped to take that victory, and even still having a little bit of a look back and going, okay, maybe we need to work on a map or 2. But I think that's good signs. And I think especially for BBL and their fans, one thing you always have to say is when that team is confident, they can beat anybody. That's always been the case. Like, they have been that team that could blow anybody out of the water, and we saw it kick off how clean they managed to make it all the way to Santiago. And then they sort of, I feel like over the last couple of months, have learned how to lose. And I think that's been tough because they are a team that in the tier 2 dominated everybody, then came into the tier 1, also dominated everybody. And we kind of just went, is this just going to be the future now? But I think Santiago is a learning curve. Stage 1 has been a learning curve, and now EWC is where they look to rise again. And then for Navi, they're kind of a victim of their own creation. They're a team that I hated the fact in stage 1 we saw them change players multiple times. We saw them change roles multiple times. I think Fila has basically played everything under the sun at this stage. Yeah. But it seems like they've now settled, and especially with having Exit into the roster, definitely a flair player, I guess you could say, like explosive. He might have a really good map and really bad map, but at least he's bringing a lot to the team, and I think that this is the best looking Na'Vi we've seen in a while. It's whether or not that's enough to qualify them to an event.
Well, that's the thing, right? It definitely is the best looking Na'Vi that we've seen, as you said. Ruxic and Hero stepping up, players that we've known should be competing, or we felt should be competing at that top tier for a long time. Felt we should see them on that stage internationally and how they shape up against other squads. But it is hard to find your footing on shifting sands, and I think that is where Na'Vi have been. It's been a rocky road, but now they're finding their way. Not too late in the year as well. Champions is still over the horizon, still a possibility for them, and it's good to see them take shape. But look, when we talk about this series, Tom, we're going to have to get into the map veto and discuss and sort of find out where things are going. Our map pool being an important part of that. Look, we've got Ascent in. There is a little bit of a change, but for you folks at home, it's important for you to understand that the meta, although the map pool is updated, the meta is not. We are still playing Old Neon. We are still playing the powerful shotguns. You will see a lot of that here today, but you will also hopefully get to see Ascent. I suppose that depends whether you're a Na'Vi fan or not.
But yeah, it really does. Obviously, each team will come in with a ban because they are, I believe, both coming in from the same stage. They're in the lower bracket, so it's not like when you have the final at the end of a big event, like for example stage 1, where one team came from the upper bracket, one came from the lower, so somebody gets 2 bans. That's not the case here. They both come in on a level playing field, and it definitely makes it for quite an exciting best of 5, because that's a rarity. You don't normally get to see teams on an even playing field, and that's going into this. There's normally a massive veto advantage, which weirdly a lot of the time doesn't play any part of it. So I am excited to see sort of where both of these teams end up going, because I think we've seen from both of them kind of a mixed pool. Like, even though we saw, for example, Fracture as a victory yesterday from Na'Vi, I wouldn't sit and say that's a massively confident map for them, because it took a 10-2 attack for them to turn what was a massive deficit. I also think that, again, like, they went quite far down on Split as well, which I do think would be a heavily favored map to them, because their opponents, although playing it quite a bit, haven't looked great. So I think those bans are going to be a big piece for me. And I guess you could say the same thing about BBL with their pick of Pearl. I also think Na'Vi aren't fantastic on the map, but I don't know if you want to go picking it again after what was still a pretty shaky performance yesterday against a team that doesn't like Pearl.
Yeah, keep in mind, Loida had to go huge in order for them to have a chance. I think Kraven had like the game of his life as well. So like this was a very close map of Pearl, considering individuals having crazy step-ups in performance. Can't really expect that to happen twice. So this is also interesting though, because for Na'Vi, like I said, maybe we're going to get to see an Ascent here. I think they picked it yesterday. It was definitely played up against Fnatic. I'm pretty sure it was their pick. And in that world, you kind of have to question. We've seen it so far in this tournament, picking an Ascent up against a Turkish team. Maybe they'll reconsider that, especially as it was a close matchup that I think, I'm really stretching my memory. I could just look it up, but I'm pretty sure they lost against Fnatic on it.
They did.
Yes, it was their pick. Yes, they lost to Fnatic. My memory's coming back. Look at that. But this is somewhere that, I think they'll have some trouble potentially if they come in today and decide to slot that in. So I do agree. I think where we go in that veto is very interesting to me, and it is going to shape up how I feel this series is going to go. Because for BBL, I think them getting a shoe in right away could be risky. I'd like to see Ascent middle of the pool.
Well, yeah, it's a weird one, because I think both teams are in different spots. Like, I think I'd feel more comfortable if Na'Vi were the one that maybe went down a little bit early and had to fight back into the series, where I feel like BBL, they're almost going to look towards a 3-0 here. Like, I think that they want to come in hot and just try and fly into the series. So I think, especially looking at the changes they've made recently, obviously Lovers Rock now playing more of the Neon role, which was a little bit hit and miss, but I also think we still saw the value of, like, having LaRock on Raze, for example, in the last map was insane, and I think he's done quite well at, like, sort of flexing when they need him to. Also, though, like, you look back to the series yesterday, and Kreven and Loiter, especially in that first map comeback, as you said, were insane. And that kind of brings me on to what's the more exciting thing with this matchup is, if you're going on recent form or maybe overall form, Ruxic versus Loiter might actually be the most interesting matchup in this game, the two controllers of the team, because Rook 6 peak, Mitch, in that last map. Like, I think he won them, and I mean, when I say individually, I mean like he's 1v4ing 3 or 4 rounds. Is that an understatement or an overstatement? I don't know. It feels about right.
Close to spot on. Yeah, I think if anything, it might be an understatement. Yeah, he was sensational. And again, that is a level that it's not the first time we've seen it out of him. We weren't sat here going, oh, he's capable of this sort of stuff, but it really is a marvel to see it unfold on the screen. But like you said, that victory was, it was a little bit of a tight one and required massive step up. So somewhere that, is it repeatable? You start to think maybe not. And I guess let's talk about really quick before we get into the veto, or as we get into the veto, the idea of who can roll this game, right? For me, Navi can win, right? There's no question about it. But if I'm to think about a team coming in and dominating, it's BBL. It's them taking that momentum, beating both Turkish squads as well before this, now feeling like they've hit that another power level. For Navi, I do fear that there's a chance that they get rolled. They've played incredibly well, so I don't think that should happen. But the danger exists more on BBL's side of the camp than on Navi's for me. And that's why I don't want to see the ascent right off bat. I think it being in the middle of the pool still gives BBL a good chance to fight, still gives Navi a good ground. But if that ground is picked as the first battleground and it crumbles, then I think Navi are out of the game.
Yeah, the one thing I will say for BBL, like as we, I imagine, do get into the veto, it is going to be that sort of like, where do you choose to go? Because that the problem I have is like, yesterday they chose Pearl. I don't want to see them do that again. Like I don't particularly, I don't like hate their Pearl, but I don't think it's like an insane map, and I think for Navi it's actually a pretty decent map. So that's kind of where I question, and they have gone for Pearl again. Now, don't get me wrong, the reason they looked bad on it yesterday, or not bad, they still won, was because they went 3-0 down in both halves. The problem I have is the last time Na'Vi played that map, they won 13-4 versus KC. So I do feel like that BBL are kind of gambling in my mind a little bit here on their opponents having a kind of poorer map. I also think the ban out of Lotus coming in from Na'Vi is an interesting one, because it's a map that they seemed quite happy to play through this qualifier and before, but maybe just seeing the performance that came out from their opponents yesterday, they just went, yeah, you know, actually, I don't want to play that. They just 13-5'd foot. I don't think we can deal with that.
I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. Like, looking at this pool right now, I do feel like there's a little bit of a leg up potentially to BBL. The Pearl, is it going to be the same as we saw yesterday? Will there be big individual performances? Yeah, probably. Maybe not from Lloyd, or maybe not from Kraven, maybe. But I have no doubt that they'll be able to put something up. The one thing is, we don't see a whole lot of ascent from BBL. But when we did, it was the Heretics game. It was overtime that they barely lost it in VCT EMEA, I'm pretty sure. And this is somewhere that for Navi facing off against them on this map, Navi have to win. They come in, they pick it, it makes sense. But history has taught us how dangerous it is to pick that map against Turkish teams. We've seen it in this qualifier. And now it is going to be a linchpin of this series. Navi pulling it in early, but Pearl is a chance for them to even get a map under their belt early. Like you said, there's been some struggles there for BBL. I look now at the teams in particular, though, rather than the journey that they've had coming here, and talk about the players themselves. Lovers Rock versus Exit is a crazy hype battle. I mean, Lovers Rock transitioning from that Yoru role, now playing on the Neon, looking a bit more comfortable, but up against Exit, that's actually quite a challenge for him. Roll back 2 months, I think I'm saying it the other way around. But this tees up as a pretty interesting fight. But what I'm most interested in, Tom, is LaRock on the Phoenix, head to head with Filu on the Phoenix. I mean, that is going to be hype to see this battle go down.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because you look at the last the last game that they played, and the reason that they were so dominant over on the Na'Vi side is, well, you probably guessed it, Rook 6 was very good. But the other player that dropped over 20 kills was Filu on the Phoenix. So it wasn't actually like Exit didn't have the best of games. Now, LaRock in the last match, we sort of teed it up. When he played Pearl, it wasn't fantastic. It was actually his teammates in Loiter and Kreven that had an incredible match. And I will say, I think it was a lot of that ended up coming down to some of those like site holds. I think that it was really well done by Kreven, especially. I think he did a fantastic job. So I think them starting on the defense gives him an opportunity to maybe kick into gear a little bit sooner and not need to have those comebacks. Also, towards the end of the series versus Foot, they actually started winning some pistol rounds as well. So I do. Yeah. That's the one thing with Na'Vi where I'm a little bit like, okay, BBL, it might have been a close game, but they didn't win any pistol rounds for the first 4. But I do kind of query if maybe there's a better start for BBL, it might look stronger for them. I still don't sit here, though, and think like, okay, this is one team starting on a map where I'm 100% convinced they're going to win. I still think maybe because it's picked by them, I'd give it 55-45, but I think this is an insanely close map to start.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we've given you all the factors that make us doubt it, make us question how this has gone early. I mean, I could see a world where the map picks are almost flipped, where Na'Vi come in ready to punish a Pearl from BBL and an Ascent from BBL that they rarely ever play, but looked extremely comfortable when they did last. Yeah, it was a loss, but a tight one up against Heretics. We move to the B site. Na'Vi send Exit in to take control over Elbow, and he survived until the stun blooms, but there's a fight back. There's a battle for BBL as Lovers Rock and Rose take them all and leave Rooksik to show off how good of a player he really is. A 1v4, 2 players tagged. It's not impossible, but it's tough.
Yeah, he is someone who can perform miracles, but I think on Astra especially, it's going to be very difficult. He doesn't really have anything that can help him maneuver. He can place a little bit of utility. One thing is Lovers Rock is very low, so maybe there's an opportunity there, but I think that they did incredibly well with their sort of distraction play. Like Rose making an aggressive push through gave Lovers Rock so much space. And now for Rooksik, yeah, they're just waiting for contact. 29 seconds for him to get onto the site, try and get the spike. As long as they don't massively overface, this is the easiest win of their lives.
And there's the swing to close it. A 3K for Lovers Rock. He's where that final orb goes. But a very strong answer to that B aggression coming through from BBL. The fact that they flowed back in after losing their first so quickly, no doubt caught their opponents off guard. I mean, Exit seemed to have some good space here, but Rose and Lovers Rock were on them in an instant.
And that was already, this is a better start than we saw for them yesterday. So clearly feeling like it was more so just those losses in the early rounds that ended up being the problem and not the map as a whole. Ready. It's going to be challenging. Of course, expectations here is maybe get an orb or something. The stun was sublime. And actually, that's allowed Filu to get 2. Of all the players to pick up kills in this round, okay, now it's getting dicey. The third player going down. Weaponry being retrieved. Nobody actually here just yet from the opposing side. It's only just a rotation coming through from Lovers Rock. This has gone from, well, the potentially great start to maybe a horrific one.
They'll go back to wishing that they lost the pistol if this one slips out of their hands. Lovers Rock has a trap, luckily. It's covering off that push towards their spawn. Otherwise, he would have been in trouble. Kraven's put that there for him to keep their back secure. But the problem is the plant's coming in on B. The numbers against them. And there's not really any way they can deny this. Lovers Rock will have an angle, though, on the planter right after. Good shot. Put the numbers even. The weaponry in favor for BBL. But the risk of losing this round, it's going to weigh on them as the consequences sit in the back of their mind. The wraparound here seemed good, but a shot from Lovers Rock means they can focus elsewhere. Nicely done.
Yeah, fair play. He's had a really strong start to this game. Already 1 away from having his ultimate online going into what will be round number 3. Of course, in terms of damage for Na'Vi, that is as good a start as you're going to get. Filu picking up 2 orbs going down. That's a 3rd for him. I think they'll be a little bit frustrated, though, that they don't manage to get this one over the line. Maybe a safer plant, a deeper plant might have been able to help out with that, but instead, losing one off the wallbang, definitely more of a problem. But you could see the buy coming out of this. It's going to be some pistols, a couple of rifles alongside that sniper. And then for Na'Vi, well, it's everything they could want.
They knew that Prowler was coming, but still stood a little bit close. Getting caught by it. There's info there, so the push comes in on the other side. LaRock runs into Hero. Wants to at least break that trap, I'd imagine. If not, force the fight all the way as the rotates come in. Hero's calling that, though. Full B long aggression. Trip still active. They're going to wrap back here. Try to reclaim that space. Reclaim that info, or maybe even a split through mid. There's definitely a big gap here. As you can see, BBL are gambling on this being an A hit because of their space, but I think Navi are adapting perfectly. The only downside is this spike seems to be heading along. This is a chance now for the round to go very, very wrong, and it will. LaRock has the spike. Those players are still going down the laneway. There is one man with the task of recovering it. Ruxic has to do it by himself. The molly is buying time. The wall is buying more, and all the while, those defenders could be coming behind him. Ruxic has to be worried with 35 on the clock. They need to move, and LaRock is going to try to cut off the reinforcements. Instead, he's done so well. A flash to try to keep him alive, but he's put it down to 20 seconds.
Yeah, they know they have to go towards the B site now. Running back in the other direction would just leave you with so little time. If there was a single player there, the round could fall apart, and I think the round already has fallen apart. It's the realization that the BBL side have just opted, okay, if we stack up the B site and they don't gamble all in on a full sprint to A immediately, we have already won. What a way to win a round, and that is something that I think is going to immediately put alarm bells onto the side of Na'Vi, because that is one player that has completely managed to dismantle your entire split.
And I hate to say it, Tom, but it's one player that you knew bloody well was previously there, or not in that corner exactly, right, but the room, you knew he was roughly there, and it's the spike swinging in solo. Ruxic too far behind. Yeah, it was a nice reaction to the shot coming at him from behind to throw that flash, but that is such a heavy blow to land early on, considering Navi had such a good start to those first two rounds, and then all that good work is just undone thanks to one player hiding in a corner. 3-0 now for BBL. A strong start. This is the start that they faced off against basically their entire series yesterday.
I must wait a moment.
But there was something to point out as well, is that if you go back to the last Pearl versus Foot, Lovers Rock only managed to get 8 kills. I believe he's already on 7.
Yep.
So maybe a slightly better performance from him already. Out in the open, and there you go. That's number 8. He is matched in just 4 rounds the amount of kills he managed versus Foot, and it seems like LaRock is there to play as well. Both players' confidence is terrifying for the side of Na'Vi. The ult is going to potentially shut him down, but he's avoided it. Goes swinging in with the rest of the team, and it doesn't quite catch him. Now the ult's going through on the other side. The flash low is perfect. Leaves Ruxic in trouble, and they have cleaned up with relative ease. It looked like it could get dangerous for a second, Mitch, but it didn't.
No, it really didn't. The early pick by Lovers Rock is a big reason for that as well. Taking Exit down in a round like this where your opponents are looking to just flood in and outpace you. Well, the Exit's kind of the key part of that strategy. So they get a lot less space than they wanted to. BBL are able to comfortably
Remember
group
who
up.
we highlighted?
Yeah. It's well, we did talk about Lovers Rock. You know, we did talk about the head-to-head with him and Exit, and that has been a head-to-head, just a bit of a one-sided affair. He's gone out on mid! He's crazy! And the reward is there. Even with LaRock going down, the man advantage persists for BBL, but they're not happy. They want more! And now they've got the spike. This team's playing so aggressive.
Oh yeah, this is the team you fear. This is the team you worried about. This is the team that, go back to kickoff, go back to last year, the team that we told was coming. And well, they haven't stopped a consistent set of pushes. That is 10-0 now for Lovers Rock. As said, he managed 8 kills in the entire map last time around. He's done more than that in 5 rounds. He's averaging 2 kills a round as we speak. And the players we highlighted, Loiter and Creven. I think Creven just got his first kill of the game. He hasn't had to do anything yet. I think there was 0-1 and 0-2. They've just been chilling while this double duelist completely takes over the game. This is what was the force to be reckoned with the Yoru back earlier in the year. If Lovers Rock has found his form going into this match today, that could be enough to pretty much take this over the line.
Left.
Already, though. They are going to be able to get onto this A site seemingly quite clean, but no, now Loiter has spotted them.
There.
Yeah, rotations will come through, and then super passive from BBL, knowing that backup will be here soon. Super passive. That was super passive from Lover's Rock. That's ridiculous, man. I mean, he was patient, but the second the first guy peeked, that was it. It was blood in the water. And a 5-0 now for BBL. As I said, coming into this game, the chances of Navi running away with it, dominating BBL, quite low in my mind. They can win, but I think it will be a battle. But the chances of BBL dominating and running away with the game are quite high if they get a start. And a 5-0 start's about as much momentum as you could ever afford to give a Turkish team.
Well, I said, the most devastating thing is genuinely that you have a player that is now, I think, 12-0. Like, Lover's Rock has not missed a beat, and you can see there's a lot of players, like, when you get to, like, when you have 0 deaths, you start playing maybe a little bit just more. You're like, actually, I kind of like that. I want to keep that. He's not one of those players. He wants to keep adding to the number so that it looks more and more ludicrous, and until you shut him down, he's going to keep doing stuff like, okay, let me just slide it on Ruxic, probably the most clutch player, maybe even in the server, and just try and 1v1 him when we've basically won the round already. It is terrifying if you are a Na'Vi fan, or if you're a Na'Vi player. And that's why Angel has decided to take himself a pause, get them talking, get them moving, because as of right now, they're not being obliterated by one player, because, you know, LaRock has had his moments, but mostly by one player.
Yeah, I think the numbers are a little bit weighted towards the top of that leaderboard for BBL right now. And again, like you said, it's not like anyone else has been needed. LaRock's been there a handful of times, but for the most part, it's been a one-man show. And here it is again, that head-to-head. This time, Exit comes out in the lead, and he'll find himself a second. Loida tries to step up to the plate to fight back. LaRock's here as well. The shots, they weren't landing, but they gave them too much time, too much reprieve for BBL. A 1 versus 2. It could have been cleaner, but first round may finally be on the board. The only man is, well, one of the players we've said hasn't had to do very much. Now, with the op in hand, he will be called upon. And he's got the spike trapped.
Spike planted.
Ruxic knows of the danger. He knows of the gap, knows of one of the positions that could cause him problems, although it's saying that. I think both look at the wrong way. Did Hero just make the spot? I think he did. I think that was the information he needed. And eventually, they'll be able to get it home on the Thrifty. And that is one thing I will say. The one part of this map, and it is the only part of this map, that has been going the way of Na'Vi so far, is that A site. Like, when they pushed it last time, even with the Bandit, they managed to come out of that in a positive position, and it came down to a clutch to win for BBL. This time, they go again and again. Okay, that was horrible, but again, they do come out on top. They come out on a 2v1 with Kreven on the other side. So I question two things. One, do they want to keep going that way and just keep taking that fight because it's been working? And two, do BBL maybe want to just throw their utility and give that up a little bit?
Yeah, the thing is, Lover's Rock definitely looks at that fight and goes, oh, I'll win that next time, though. Although the flash is very good. No chance from this, and they'll have to fall back to the site. Good contest from Navi. They've got themselves a main. But the plan won't be to just run into the A side afterwards. Of course, you want to now look for space elsewhere on the map. Now start to remove some of that utility. Like, look at the Cypher setup. We're talking about the impact of Kreven. They have B and doors completely locked down. Even if they break the camera here, if they're not close enough to see the trip, they're going to now go, hey guys, we've taken information away from them. They don't know if we can... They do know. They do know because they've got a trip as well.
Oh, Lovers Rock. Right back to winning ways. The shots are almost just bait because he's got so many teammates surrounding him, looking to try and defend him, but he has been taken down. Rose on the edge. Just going to be waiting patiently, and he times it to perfection. Teammates have been lost, but he's still holding his ground. Bilu at least will be able to get one, but then Kreven swipes from behind. Of course, all of their sound was removed when they were hit by the Nightfall, so he's able to get in even cleaner. It was an opportunity for Na'Vi to start something, but it seems like they are right back to Trouble Town.
Yeah, and that was just a game plan diff. To be honest, from the very get-go, as you saw, that double trap setup, the fact that there's a camera and a trip sitting inside of the double doors, they go in, they break it, because what did we get? We got initial control of the map, then we take more information from your opponents. They're either going to push and give you a fight, or you push in and they don't know you're coming. But because there was a trip there was no panic. They immediately knew no one's pushed through, no one's taken space. We can stack A, and they have the extra player in the form of Rose that Navi just can't calculate is in position. They don't have the information. Nice start with trades going out, but space towards the A site being contested. Still got a lot of utility to fight through, and they try to counter that on Navi's side by putting in the run it back, but it's shut down as well. The one upside here is look at the rotations. So much confidence in this Cypher setup, but it did leave one side of the map completely open. The benefit being that Neon can fill that space immediately.
Oh, the timing couldn't be worse. 3 players that swing through. How far up is Lover's Rock going? He's going all the way. He's just going to fight them. The second they get around the corner, that's a nasty surprise. And now he's just going to escape. He has been so good at just getting the opener and running away. It almost feels like he's back on the Yoru again, playing this Neon in the manner that he is. Houdini has returned, and you might see him walk away. You might know how the trick is done, but dealing with the trick is so much more difficult. What a game Lover's Rock is having. And while there is a very good reason that this time they are dominantly leading rather than having to fight from behind.
I'm out of here.
You know, back in the day when Turkish teams used to play just all-out aggression, and it was a little bit more, you know, fighter brain rather than thinker. And I think that it's funny to see the evolution where G2, back in the day, back in 2020, 2021, they played like idiots, but it worked, right? Because they were better than everybody else at just fundamentals of tac shooters.
They were FPS players.
Yes, they were FPS players, and it showed. But when it came, we were always saying, like, eventually people will figure it out. It's almost the opposite. It's like when Turkish teams figure out how to think and play structure like that, you have an op take first fight and then a player sat behind. You have this utility swap up. Krevin's going out. Tempered aggression as well that we know they're capable of. There's a fast wrap on Art, but exit is too quick. He's already pushed through to the A site. No attempt to wrap around on him will be successful, and now Rose is down. The A site fully claimed.
Rock, that's insane. That's insane. The run it back just took the space and then he just killed everybody. I don't know how he's managing to just pull off all 3 kills in a matter of seconds. And the hero's probably just sat there going, guys, what the hell just happened? What the hell just... And so am I. So am I. What have we just seen?
That was such a good round as well. My heart is breaking for Navi in this round, because sometimes you have these dominant one-sided starts to a map, and it's like one team is making huge mistakes. I don't even think Navi are making huge mistakes. They're making mistakes, sure, and there's gaps. BBL are forcing those errors more so though. They're playing a great individual game, and this time they play the right. They do the right thing. They start with the mid fight. They get traded out on that initial op shot. It's a little bit of a bait, but the response is there immediately as they fight with Filu taking control over Art. They accelerate, then sending the Neon straight through to the A site, avoiding the re-fight from double doors, just completely ignoring it to get space on site to plant. Everything went according to plan. Literally couldn't have been better. And then he does that. Like, what? Like, come on, man. They're trying. They're really trying. And BBL are giving no slack whatsoever. And that is the problem. What I was saying earlier is we hit this point with Turkish teams. We were like, damn, these guys are crazy individually, but they play kind of stupid. And when we get to the point where they refine this style, it could be so scary. And we're now in the era where it's no longer one team trying to refine it. It's the whole region has stepped up a level, and everyone else seems screwed.
That was literally because when I first saw it, I didn't even realize that was his ult. It looked like that. So basically, that man had a 4-second timer to kill everyone on their team, and he did it. Like it's
it was his ult. Yeah.
It's like you're in a challenge mode on like some sort of niche indie game, and my man just broke the world record. Like it must just be so devastating to play up against that. But the saved rifle has been able to get rid of Lover's Rock, something they've really struggled to do throughout this game so far. They'll even be able to reveal where the remaining players are. Filu's going to get his HP back up at least a little bit.
Spike planted.
And we see BBL retake.
Oh, great flash. It's a little bit shaky on the follow-up, but they get there in the end. The Bucky double. Makes it look easy for Navi, and there it is. The secret recipe is just to delete Lover's Rock at the start of the round. Great work by Hero to do that as well. Like you said, it has been a real struggle to get rid of that man, and it's why they were so comfortable leaving him alone, completely alone on that side of the map, knowing that just a bit of Cypher utility to keep the info is more than enough for your unkillable Neon. But, well, his mortality tested and proven to be real.
He's not in God mode. We now know that he hasn't accidentally enabled God mode, and he does die. Not very often, but it is possible. And the response is the BBL have decided you liked playing towards B. We don't like you playing there. So LaRock's just going to take that control away from you again. And they fully stacked up. They've swapped their Cypher setup. In fact, there's a second layer on the trip. So that if they now look to go the other way, there'll be info there. So they know that nobody's pushing towards the spawn.
Shortcut. Take this.
He's disgusting, man. Kraven's disgusting, the positions he puts these little trips in. Oh, in the cage! Lover's Rock went down. He had to fight. Not done yet. LaRock with hot hands and Rose have come through for 2, and Loida doing the same. Oh, man. Navi boots on the ground, but bodies soon after. 9-2 now. It is a lights-out game. BBL are playing here on map number 1, and well, that's the thing, Tom. You know, we asked, would Pearl be the same as last time? Would it need players to have these insane individual performances? And I even said, you know, maybe it's not going to be Kraven. Maybe it's not going to be Loida, but there's going to be someone. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near this level of ludicrous.
No, like, you even got... This is what I talk about with saying that it almost feels like Phoenix at times is a quasi-initiator. That was like solid utility all the way through that round coming out from LaRock. It's so much so that he even gets a kill with his Molotov as they're trying to execute onto the site. He's having a great game, but it is being overshadowed by the fact that his teammate is having an even better one. But in that round, didn't have to really do too much. Again, look at the rotations. They've already taken mid. They're already just trapping them in. They're just waiting for them to try and make a move. They're fighting the running back because they know they have them surrounded. This is not a battle. This is an execution.
This looks like when you jump on as a 5-stack to queue, you know, a ranked game of Dust for the first time, just Dust number 1, and you come up against specialists. I mean, BBL just know this map better. They're playing it better. They're fighting for every bit of control better. They are better, at least in the first half. We'll find out if it's the same story in half number 2 after the break. Well, welcome back, folks. 10-2. It has been a speed run in the first half. And as we said, expect to see a lot of Neon today. We're still on that old patch. And you got to see exactly what we foretold. But Lover's Rock is taking it to another level here today.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he went 12-0, and then eventually it turned out that he could die. And Na'Vi is still trying to figure out some way to deal with that. This has been a clinic, and maybe showed what would have happened if they got some of the early rounds. The last time out already is looking good for them in this pistol round. That was their struggle yesterday. The first 4 pistol rounds didn't go their way, but the series still did. In this one, it is looking like the first 2 may, but you do have to look at who's left standing on the other side. Hero and Rooksik. If you wanted somebody alive for a clutch, they are the 2.
Yeah, now is not the time to take your foot off the gas pedal. Maybe it's time to put your foot on it. Look, they're probably not going to win this map, but for Na'Vi, the next map, Ascent, against the Turkish team on this kind of a run, look, they need to find some hope soon, man. And Lovers Rock just keeps on going. 11-2. And at this point, for Na'Vi, it's got to start to feel like it's done. But like I said, we need that spark. You need to have some hope for the next map. Right now, it just looks like BBL are playing in a different league.
Yeah, I think most of the time, like after a map is finished, you might have a bathroom break, a small snack, and then a chat with the team. I think the entirety of that break might just end up as a chat with the team in the bathroom break. Well, you know, you've only played for about 15 minutes with the way that this game is going, so I'm sure that can wait till later. It is looking like a very one-sided story. Of course, BBL as an organization managed to make it to EWC last year, but for these youngsters, for these players coming through, it's easy to forget that a lot of them are just 18 years of age. Qualification definitely be up there for them. Be a long series, a marathon, not a sprint, but they have come out of the blocks as quickly as possible, and well, that is incredible from Rooksik. Truly ridiculous! How have you managed 3 kills with a stinger and a classic? Well, you asked for hope, Mitch. I think he's delivered something more.
3 kills without reloading on that loadout is just pretty damn impressive, especially that quickly. Oh, yeah, spark of hope indeed.
One enemy
They're
remaining.
fanning that into a flame with a 4th for Rooksik, and ace would be something else. Don't you dare steal it, Philo! Give the man the ace. Come on. No! Yes, what a good teammate. And then Cloric stole it. Well, what can you do? He's been denied an ace, robbed, some would say. I would say, and I think he would say too, but a round is a round, and they have been hard to find so far for Na'Vi, so you know, a surprise moment to pick it up, but better late than never.
Yeah, no, I don't know how he managed to get as much as he did in that scenario. Like, again, props to Rooksik for always being able to do things that it feels like nobody else can. He only had 6 bullets left when he took that second fight, but somehow that was still enough. Well, I guess Philo wanted the orb. He did get one, but at the cost of his own life. Of course, this purchase not going to be the best. Even still, Lovers Rock, while being hit by the trip, is able to get the opener. The strike out from Rooksik again, though. This man is doing everything. He is the hard carry. He's the savior. He's the only one on the server. Get this man some help.
Rooksik, come on, man. He's got another! Back-to-back 4Ks. Rooksik is very much single-handedly dragging this team towards the finish line, but it is still so far away. Well, bro, I can't believe a 2K with the 3rd then being a classic into a 4K with the retrieved weapon 2 times in a row. Like, what are the chances of that in a game where you're being smashed as well? And this is genuinely a beacon of hope in the darkness.
He almost, like, well, excluding Exit is true, but he almost got more kills in the last 2 rounds than his whole team.
Nice try, but yeah, that's a very good anti-A main fight.
12 rounds.
Yeah, it was basically the second they decide to fight A main, they're dead. Like, the whole plan there from BBL is we're going to force you to fight us and make sure you can't fall back.
Okay.
Nice trades out. Kraven's the only one to fall, as it was the ult from Larocque, and it was traded out for some pretty good damage. Cloric dead to rights, and the numbers back in favor of BBL.
Well, for me, it felt like a lost round the second that Rooksik went down. We'll see if anybody else is maybe taking some inspiration. Exit is the second on the board, and you know what? He's found one with the operator. Not normally the best gun for the retake. It's now going to be a rifle that maybe he can retrieve. Of course, closing these angles is not going to be easy. He knows he needs to tap to bait out that utility. Will be able to retrieve the rifle and even expects a player in the corner. The stun is good, and he's cleared another. Maybe he will take over the round. Okay. Exit now steps up to the plate. Finally starting to see some of those individuals on the side of Na'Vi. And although a victory in this map is very, very, very far away, you know, Mitch, firstly, they did it yesterday, but secondly, as you said, I think it's important that we just see some of these stars.
That's it. You get 13-2'd by BBL. You go into your pick of ascent. I really think that the BO5 is in jeopardy at that point, but seeing them wake up like this is so smooth by Exit as well. Like, so smooth. Looked like he was playing a single-player game, but 11-5. Closing the gap is all that matters to Na'Vi now. Feeling like they've got a shot when it comes to the next. That molly is perfect. And an exact counter of what we saw in the previous round. Looking to seize that space back, though, where BBL, LaRock's already taken so much space, and Filu will fall. All in all, very good trades early on, but this fight indoors could be everything. And with Kreven falling, those recovered weapons will remain on the floor in A main.
Seems like the plan for the defense will be to split up and look for clues. Of course, they do still have Cypher utility across the map, which will be able to get them little pockets of information. However, we're more so looking at Rose. Be able to get towards that B site without anything standing in his way. It's once he gets there, however, he will have to try and deal with Hero, who's just tucked into the back. Basically almost just going to try and sell the idea that there's no one here. Even the cam is going to give the game away, maybe even make him believe that no one was on this side of the map. And instead, it's a free kill in the end for Hero.
You know, sometimes and over the past few days of the road to EWC, we've been surprised sometimes to see teams deactivated and then wake up completely. This is one of the less perplexing moments, because I do feel like we've seen games where teams play bad. Let's just put it that way. They play bad, whether it's as a team, whether it's the game plan, but there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors. And so them then fixing that suddenly, you know, we know that they know how to play, so it's not terribly surprising, but it's always, you know, it's not the expected result to suddenly figure out how to play. In Navi's case, I don't think that's what's happened here. I don't think they've suddenly figured out how to play Valorant. They did a lot of things the right way. I think Kreven was such a pain in the ass on that defensive side, where almost every fight Navi went into, their opponent's hands were stacked. They had to rotate. The players, think about that A site hit where Kreven's containing them completely, and Rose is just sat in the corner on A. They see 3 players on A and think, okay, we know where everyone is now. No, there's a dude in the corner as well. He gets 2, rounds already over, and Kreven kills them on the flank. Like, it just felt like they were playing with the odds against them in so many of those rounds because of the game plan from BBL being so good and Navi not really being ready for it. So now he swaps sides. They're on the defense, and they're starting to actually perform. We're seeing individuals light up. This is what I wanted to see, because like I said, they get bombed out. Everyone's in a pretty low mood. But now we're starting to see that it was a game plan diff on the previous, and, well, they don't have to play Pearl again, so that's fine for the BO5.
Oh, the judge on the other side, just nasty. Clearly a counter read, clearly expecting someone to pressure this. Flash has gone over, and it's all too easy for Ruxic again. It seems like the player that they almost need to avoid at this stage, but this is clearly a thought-out plan, and they're not going to shy away from taking the fight themselves. You want to push us in mid, we'll push you in mid, at a flawless round off the back of a pause. Surely Na'Vi aren't doing this again. Like, it's not even been like, what, 18 hours since they did this to us last time? I'm not sure I could take another comeback of this sort.
It does seem harder to do against BBL, in all honesty. Like, the form that they had. So this is the other side of the coin, right? Navi were playing okay, but also BBL were playing sensational. Lovers Rock had one of the best halves we've seen on him. Even go back to the Yoru days. So there's no shortage of roadblocks, but now they seem to be tearing through them all. The problem here is that the A site
Out of here.
is completely open, barring Chloric. And although now the read is there, the rotates are coming in towards this side of the map. B is being abandoned. It is a little bit late. And Chloric's going to have to back off, give that space as they fight for the retake. Depending on the timing here. Yeah, okay. Should be the they're going to fight Art. They're fighting Art already. The ult's gone through from Phoenix. So this is a very aggressive stance from Navi.
The same could be said for their opponents, though. You've already had ults on ults on ults. They saved everything up and used it in this round. And now it's whether or not they can hold on to this post plant. An advantage. Cosmic Divide faded. All those ults are now gone. And also their personnel are in trouble. But it seems like LaRock is defending them, holding back the line. Chloric with the trade. But even still a man advantage sits for this attack inside. The main problem is how low a player is. Bros, he's dodging, but he's not quite going to make it. And now the Cosmic Divide becomes a problem themselves. The tap is going to be heard. Defusal denied for now. And they need to get on this, and they need to get on it now. And bear in mind, the player defusing was the low one. There's no chance here anymore for Ruxic. He'll be able to make it incredibly costly. He'll be able to remove the guns. But even still, LaRock will land the shot and then go down with the ship.
Yeah, extra orb for LaRock, but 12-7. Now they've got room to farm up those ults and play a big ult dump round on the attack side as well. Look, that's almost a trump card. This is where you then look to Navi. 5 in a row, a big, big task to try to lock this back in. And I do think that, look, the Phoenix ult made sense to pick up the pace on that Art fight. But when that got shut down so quickly, I expected to see them pump the brakes. But they got a little bit overeager for that battle, and I think that was the first domino falling.
Recovering it.
It took them some time. But now all that is needed for BBL is a singular round. Now, it's safe to say, if you use all your ults in one round, you no longer have them for the next.
Go, go, go.
So they don't have any more ultimates to try and get them through some of these awkward positions. The defense are almost grouped up in a death ball, walking round together. Kreven,
Face.
he's in the perfect position if they don't check, and they haven't checked, and so he's going to be able to wipe down 2. Even has backup to help him a little bit more. This might be the beginning of the end, unless Ruxic has something to say about it. And the molly is perfect. LaRock read, like, okay, if Ruxic's going to be anywhere, he's going to be in the smoke.
Yeah, and the fact that they lobbed the season just seconds earlier, he sits, Ruxic doesn't shoot back. It's like, okay, I think I'm making it out of here. I survived the spams. Molly at his feet. He's cremated. This is it. A 4 versus 1. What a fight back by Navi. They looked like they were going to get completely shut out of this map. But towards the end, we saw signs. We saw sparks flying. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they caught in time. Now, Ascent comes up with a 1-0 advantage for BBL. 13-7, still a pretty dominant showing by the end of it, Tom, but I am at least happy that we saw Navi find their footing towards the end.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was important. Like, even though this game ends up still being, like, on the scoreboard a bit of a blowout, like, it didn't look particularly close, it was more so that first half was so incredibly dominant that if we saw nothing from Navi, I'd be going into map number 2 going, well, this is still a Turkish map. Like, if we're going to get Lovers Rock and LaRock just being the best 2 players in the server, it doesn't really matter if this is somewhere that Navi feel comfortable. But now I've seen a little bit of a resurgence. I still feel like going into their map choice, they should be feeling comfortable and go, okay, we can write that one off. We started cold. We've not performed well in map number 1. So now we need to get back on the horse and see what we can do, because even looking compositionally, I'm expecting to see a change to maybe something slightly more meta from the BBL side. So although this is the pick of Navi, the variance could come with what BBL decide to run.
Well, indeed, this is our best of 5 veto, and you can see 13-7 to BBL is locked in with Ascent, the Turkish map, but one that BBL haven't played a ton of in recent memory. Coming up next, it does seem like BBL have a chance to run away with things here, and for Breeze to be a really dangerous battleground. Navi woke up towards the end, but they better keep themselves awake coming into the next map, or this one could slip away. For now, though, folks, we are going to slip away for a quick break. We'll be back in a little bit with the rest of the BO5.
trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Can't get to you. 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 Can't get to you.
Welcome back, folks. Best of 5, one map already behind us. And Tom, it is fair to say for BBL, their map pick, it went very much according to plan. A fantastic first half, especially displayed by them here today. You think that now moving into the next map, that Navi are screwed or dead to rights? Surely not.
I don't think they're dead to rights. I am still a little curious if we're going to see some adaptations for them, because their attack side yesterday was pretty poor. Like, I think they had 3 individual rounds, and then if it wasn't for the pistol, it would have been quite a dominant half in the other direction. The other side of the coin, though, is very interesting, because I don't want to say the composition is crazy from the side of BBL, but you have LaRock playing Deadlock the last time they played this map. So yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that continues. The Jet, I think everything else, Jet, Cypher, Omen, Sova, standard. Like, it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, the Deadlock is just something a little bit unorthodox, and it seemed like defensively it worked wonderfully for them. They had a great map, and then on the attack it was horrible. They didn't seem like they had the same problems of old, basically, where you don't have a lot to get you into the sites, and if that starts going wrong, it falls apart. So what we have seen from BBL over the last few weeks playing in this tournament is they massively moved towards the meta. Like, they were having Lover's Rock on Neon an awful lot. We've seen the Phoenix coming out from a LaRock a lot more, and rather than trying to define it themselves or go back and regress to old metas, in this tournament we've seen them really join everybody on the meta. So I want to see if that's going to be the same on Ascent, because we're yet to see them play it in this tournament. Yeah,
well, we haven't seen them play it all year, barring that one matchup against Heretics, who I think also don't really play it very much at all. So it was an OT loss, but still an OT push. No one's ever going to come into a matchup and say, oh, does this Turkish team know how to play Ascent? Like, obviously it's a comfort ground for most players from that scene, therefore for most teams from what we've seen in the past. But I do think that there is a danger lurking, because the map will not be a complete foreign ground for them, and Heretics tried to pick it against BBL to sort of surprise them as well, I'd imagine. They got a surprise when they almost lost the map. For Navi now coming in on the back of a loss like that, what could have been a complete blowout loss as well. Momentum is such a big deal for squads like BBL. We've heard it from them themselves. It definitely does make me a little bit worried that we could be in for a shutout, and that's more so where the starts are going to be super important for Navi. I want to see them coming in with the pistol round. I want to see them at least fighting for that third if they lose the pistol, and I want to see some confidence, because we definitely got that towards the end. We started to see, I mean, throughout, Ruxic was great, but we started to see Exit step up to the plate, some good rounds from Filu as well. We just need to see that carried forward, bring that half two energy to Ascend.
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot to be desired, and actually they are going to stick with the same composition, so clearly feeling like that's something that can work out for them with that double Sentinel and Kraven bringing in the Cypher, of course, as the other. It's definitely the attack side I'm a little bit more wary of, but I guess they might have just looked at it and gone, look, we're starting on defense anyway. We can just get off to another flyer of a half. It's not really going to matter if we close out those remaining couple of rounds. And I will say, and I won't say that like going in like Deadlock is one of my favorite agents, but I do enjoy watching Deadlock. I think if you watch a good Deadlock player and has a lot of like strong nets and has like a lot of trap setups that are awkward, especially even in post plants can be quite nasty, I find Deadlock very entertaining. And Larocque is one of those players, like, as said, he can kind of do anything. He can make anything look good. It's just when most people are running a Phoenix on this map, you kind of go, well, what would I rather see Larocque playing? A Deadlock or a Phoenix? I'd rather see him play Phoenix.
Yeah, I think last map was a pretty compelling case for that as well. So
yeah.
I'm on board with you this time. And, looking at the Deadlock conversation, to briefly say, we've seen many years of Cypher. The same for Killjoy as well. It's hard to surprise people when you play those agents. People tend to know everything that's in your wheelhouse, even from a viewer perspective. But then when it comes to Deadlock, there's a lot of things you can do to catch people off guard and to bring out some new plays, even if, they've been around for a while, so people aren't that familiar with them or aren't that used to reacting to them. And those things can definitely give you an upper hand in some of those fights. Now, a very slow pistol round from Navi. They just play the control on left side of the map, fight for mid and short, and leave a trap behind to cover the walk up on A. A nice little bit of early battling done short, where Larocque has traded HP pretty effectively with Filu. But they don't get any info on the defensive side from that. Yet still, seems like a bit of a shift away from A.
Saw this before. They love to try and go for these B splits, and it's something that's being watched. Lover's Rock now on that jet, just watching the cross. Has been dealt with, but Exit has taken an awful lot of HP in response, and even has to be a little careful of the trip itself. Rotation in from Larocque, who was already low, and that's now the spike. Bear in mind, I think Larocque... Oh, no, he has used his wall already. Okay, I was about to say, if he still had that, that would have been dangerous, but I guess danger lives around every corner anyway. Loiter with the kill onto Hero.
30 seconds left.
Floric now. Good luck with this one, champ. I don't think you're getting around that corner.
Well, Team Ace is quite a healthy start for BBL. A pistol round working out wonderfully, especially as it definitely did look like they were under a bit of pressure for a moment there as the attackers break through mid, but rotated already come through, sending one player from that mid spot all the way around to B. Good containment then from Lover's Rock, and away you go. Pistol round under their belt. And I think that for the start here, when we saw that first shot by Lover's Rock, I realized that, we didn't really touch on what we said for Navi, the things that went right towards the end. But the worries here, if Lover's Rock gets off to a belter of a start, if Larocque is finding a lot of impact. Well, there was an impact there, but it was straight to Larocque's head.
Yeah, the fact that he's able to just get ahead of that wall. Again, another win for the Bandit. This is a blind fight for Rose. Somehow Rose took 0 damage in that initial battle, by the way, but Exit has now decided to play around the edge, but Kreven predicts it.
Yeah, unfortunate when you're that low. Spam can take it down so easily. It's just a question of damage for Navi. It would make this a worthwhile round if they can just keep trading out, but they might even be in for a win here. What a fight from Navi. It all comes in the back of Exit, just blitzing faster than anybody expected on the other side, beating the deadlock wall. And as a result, it seems like they've beaten BBL in this round. Loida, last man alive. He's put it down to a 1v1, but time here so low. Ringer Rosie from Cloric. He's using his brain rather than his aim. He's heard the steps, and the round's already his. Nicely done in the 1v1, and even better overall for Na'Vi in this round.
Yeah, and an important one as well, because we know that their attack side has been the weaker. We know that they needed a pretty hefty comeback yesterday, even in playing that defensive side. So I think that them getting this early round is massive for them. I think it's going to be irritating as well for the side of BBL, because all it really does come down to is just him getting ahead of that one piece of the wall. They get the entire site for free. They're able to put themselves into a winning position, and that's what lets the round slip away.
Camera taken out.
Of course, in this round, not going to be a whole lot available, and Loiter has already been obliterated on shore.
Lover's Rock follows as well. He was worried about Ruxic being up top, but a man was down below.
Throwing net.
And the Rock, he has caught him. He's hit him with the net. Ruxic's going to have to let him know eventually, but he's just worried someone's going to swing around that corner. Get rid of his rifle. He's going to stay hunkered down for the time being. Meanwhile, the B hit comes through. Drone broken. Player spotted. Do they see? Yeah, they know both are here as well. So that's all the information there to play with now for the attacking side. The only thing is maybe Laroc could catch them off, but as he comes through the smoke, his quick rotation revealed. And lost in the pistol round. There we go. Yeah, a loss in the pistol and a 2-1 start. Beautiful stuff for Na'Vi.
Yeah, it's not bad individually from Laroc to do a little bit of damage, but yeah, the fact that they've been able to come out into this round with a full buy, also having the run it back onto Filu, it's putting them in a fantastic position to set up into this attack side half. And as said, it's normally the one that they have struggled on a little bit more and then had to sort of bring it back on the defensive side. So the fact that they're already in the lead and have a strong boost to their economy early in this map, it's about as good as it gets.
Nice start for Exit. That's the danger for Na'Vi's side. If he starts to feel it in those early fights, I mean, we're now starting to see him come in with a lot of that early impact. He's the reason that they have the lead right now as well with that A pick earlier on. He's removed a vital utility belt from BBL in terms of their ability to take some aggressive fights, to deny map control, to reactively put down paranoia. It's all gone. Laroc wants to trade it back. He senses Exit could be in this corner, but Exit's seen him. It's dangerous as Laroc goes down so low and looks to swing. If he swings in here, he's dead. And in fact, Lover's Rock is first. The molly forces him back, but Filu is hunting him through it. The wall in his way, but it won't last long. And, well, Filu falls. But Ruxic is standing by. Paranoia will land. In fact, it lands a little too well. it hit Exit, who was just spinning around on the site, trying to be a distraction. But great work from Na'Vi overall, and this is very scary now for a squad that, as we said, we expect BBL to have the potential to run away with it. Not so much Na'Vi, but what we're seeing in these last few rounds tells a different story.
Yeah, I'll be honest, so far, Laroc's utility has looked like more of a deterrent to his gameplay than actually helping.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it did, like, the trap there did at least a little bit to stun up Ruxic from killing him quite as fast. But it seems like each time he almost gets caught throwing the wall, it's just not him having his gun out. And it might sound silly, but when you have a guy who has as much raw aim as Laroc, I want to see him with his gun out as much as humanly possible. Like, if he's throwing a flash, I don't mind, because he's throwing a flash so he can aggressively take some space. But it does just feel like, at least right now, he's focusing so much on how that utility can be used. I think he's died most rounds without being able to shoot a bullet.
And it's sort of bringing me back to that old conversation of, like, is it the right comp for the map or the right comp for your team on that map? And what we're seeing here is, yeah, a comp that has a lot of ideas behind it, ways that it can be used. That's great. And potential to catch people off. Sure, there's a lot that could go for it, but Laroc He's shown us on the Phoenix how strong he could be.
Cage triggered.
And right now, maybe this isn't a comfortable spot for him to play from if you're seeing him with the utility in hand more than the rifle. The Rock again, ready with the C's, and the net goes through. Lover's Rock gets out with a rifle. Very nice stuff. Potential for it to go even better if there were players caught in that net. But Lloyd and out. Paranoia early. Door closed. Just trying to delay. Trying to buy time as the rotates come in.
Go, go, go!
Yeah, probably screaming for help.
Cage triggered.
They can the leaf out of Sayonara's book. They've got so much information, but it's exit again. Doing fantastic work on these entries. Even still, the trades come back to give an advantage over to this defensive side, and they're ahead of a lot of the utility. That wall has not delayed them. It leaves one man underneath who has no chance. Another big individual round from Lover's Rock. And, well, I would say good work as well from Loiter. Just being able to delay them enough that that wasn't just him fighting alone.
Now 3-2 now. A tight early game. And Ultimate's coming online. This is where the game starts to heat up. We're seeing some ideas there from BBL to play that bit more passive towards B main. Finding openings, getting the rifle into the hands of Lover's Rock. And that certainly paid off. But the adaptation has to be there from Navi now. Passive outside B. Holding for that push-up, which might come in later on if they put the pressure on the A side. I like this slow approach. And they're getting what they wanted out of it. Camera confirms it, though. And now there'll be no battle. And the only thing about that is, you know, putting the cam up that late, they know now that that's probably the lurk on that side of the map. I wonder if Navi want to play into that.
They're pushing forward. Tagged up. Lover's Rock. He still does well, though. In fact, he's still standing. I thought he was dead for sure. And now with Rose swinging through the smoke, he was just waiting for that contact. This trap setup has worked. Okay. Rose needs to be a little bit careful not to give the game away. There's still aggression on the other side of the map, and Ruxic has his ultimate available just off that kill alone. I think he realized it. Okay, if I get a singular kill catching players rotate, I can get us the spike. I can put us in a position which makes this possible. Still unlikely, but possible.
I was going to say, Lover's Rock was looking a little bit over-eager, but he's waiting now for the rest of the squad to come and join him. Tagged up as he is. Needs to be the distraction on the way through, just in case they land that stray shot onto him, and here we go. Aggression into tree, though. Hero's taking a bit of space. It's not a nice fight because he turned his back on Rose. Done for as Lover's Rock finishes out the round. We're neck and neck. 3-3. 4 players alive for BBL as well. It's a big moneymaker round.
Yeah, I like as well that one of my main critiques was the fact that Larocque was just getting caught all the time with his util out. They swapped him to the other side of the map. They've put the full Cypher setup alongside Loiter, so they've got a lot of delay, less personnel, like less people over towards that A side of the map, but basically just allowing them to use that Cypher setup. Kreven's always a safe pair of hands whenever you have Cypher in position. They're doing it again. It's going to be the same. Have that Cypher on that side and then move Larocque. Because, let's be real, the first couple of A hits that we saw out from Na'Vi was just Larocque getting domed and that's the site gone.
Yeah, and also any attempt to keep the main info with Cam just isn't working when you're going to constantly have Hero lurking up late to destroy that utility. That's why they had that set up and B main baiting in the fight. This time much more direct from Na'Vi, and we've seen Larocque do well. Look into the other side of the map, but now his util to be pressured. He delays them to start with, puts the wall in the laneway, and now even more time coming off that clock. When the wall breaks, there's even a trap waiting for the drop down. Reveal onto the switch. 2 players spotted there. They know on the side of Na'Vi that they're being read now. That all those numbers are adding up on one side, and it's giving them clear direction. Huge tags as Loida and Kreven follow up. There is still a fight back from Na'Vi. They're not letting this one slip just yet. Spike's still under their control, and a 2v3.
Oh, there's a risky peek out from Larocque, but he got the information he wanted. He knows the players are still here. Now just waiting with gun in hand, and that's it. This way is the most dangerous. Remove all the utility. Give him the ability to just shoot sometimes. And you expect that he will not miss a beat. He also has the Annihilation, his ultimate online, if they really wanted to play this one nice and safe. I think they'll know as well that Cloric is not a man that you want to give clutch opportunities to. Heretics learned that back in the early weeks. Now, though, he's trying to bait them into a fight, but I like this. Give him nothing. Wait for the plant to go in. You know he's trapped into a corner. You know he's not doing anything cheeky. The stun was still on the site, but he still managed one. It won't matter in the end. Rose, a very quick trade, and I have to say, a couple of very good rounds from the IGL.
You failed.
Well, it was true even going back to the last map, and I think when you look at the fact that on Pearl defensive side especially, there were so many good reads. I think Rose has been having an even better game than it seems like. And overall for BBL, this has definitely been a couple of rounds that inspire some confidence, and Navi see that. They call a timeout now, not happy with how these rounds have gone. And it's no surprise when you consider the fact that they're a map down. It was 13-7, and it was lights out from BBL. Now they start to heat up. They take the lead out of your hands as well. And this BO5, it starts to look like there's a whole lot less room for error as this goes on. I'm not mad at Navi taking a moment here to breathe.
Yeah, I think especially when you look back to how the game started, you win round 2 and 3. You then break back almost immediately after that as well to give yourselves a lead. And then it's a few rounds in a row where I think we witnessed an adaptation coming out from the defense, a heavy switch of their setup. Okay, Cypher now on the other side of the map, Deadlock on the other. It's something that's working a lot better. I think you even see the sensors having much more impact, slowing down the B hit than they were doing over on A, where he was trying to risk it with the wall. And now Na'Vi need to find an adaptation to that. I think that initially, some pressure into mid would have worked, but even when they were using the Blaze, the Filu firewall to try and get them through, the cam was still tagging them over the top of it, and that was an issue. And he's had a bit of a slow start to the game, which realistically, the main value of the Phoenix, get lots of kills, get lots of orbs, get that running back, and it gives you a free entry into the site.
Well, so far, when it comes to stats in the EWC qualifier for EMEA, Ascent has been the most defensive side of map that we've seen. And I think for BBL at this point, showing that they've got the lead. Navi, previously, they've only been picking up a round here or there.
Running low.
He paused early to look to rectify things, get rounds on the board early. Trap caught onto exit. That is a death sentence. I don't think the shorty blast even caught it. So Kraven gets to kill him for free. Now the ult through to secure the round. And with Cloric falling, it looks like it wasn't even needed. The formality now is the ult will finally get there. Loroc's second kill of the round and a 5th on the board for BBL. Yeah, this has been a very defensive-sided map when it comes to EMEA, but Navi kind of allowed them to get away with too much.
The funny thing as well is when you hear that deadlock ult go off, it lasts for so long in terms of how long you can fire it that I was like, oh, what, like 5 seconds gone by? He must have missed. He must have like fired it into mid, try and kill it somewhere else, and then you see it catch someone, you're like, ah, they're screwed now. Because he held it long enough that it wasn't like, okay, 5 players or 4 players could just spam onto the guy trapped. He only had 1 teammate left. A different avenue as well. The operator hasn't really been a big piece of the puzzle just yet for Lover's Rock, but maybe realizing, okay, they're going to try and take some space into middle. Got to be careful, though. He might be dead here. Yeah. Look how far out he's gone.
It's because they caged the cross.
They haven't seen him. They're going to see him in a sec.
They didn't even notice that they saw the barrel, and he's right down below. The dash might get him out, but no, he's caught by exit just before, and the shot didn't land, so it's not even a trade. Numbers favoring Navi, and they instantly pick up the pace, looking towards this A site. Hunter's Fury, there's a tag. They found at least one towards the site. Rose, though, creeping up. He might have a backstab now, making his way through the tree. In for one already, and a real thorn in the side. They're not looking. Rose running all over them. And now he's locked them out. Okay, well, he's been taken out through the smoke, but still, a 3 versus 2. And those players are caught behind the smoke, still have to make it through the choke. It's another big round from Rose.
Yeah, I think the singular kill Kraven gets from the corner as well. It didn't really give away his position, and maybe they focused in too much. 30 seconds.
30 seconds left.
There has been a rotation. Bear in mind, Loiter is incredibly low. He's playing an off angle, trying to at least, and well, an instant headshot's going to help him out significantly. A few seconds from a smoke, but also a few seconds from his teammate making it back in. On for Cloric. His time is ticking away from him.
Left.
Needs to go for this stick. Already the swing out from Loiter. His teammate I don't think would have been able to trade that immediately, but he was confident he wasn't missing that shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the timing as well, just as he plans. You know you'll catch him pulling the weapon back out. Lloyd takes the decision to get ahead of the curve on that. Yeah, great work to start from BBL Rose, making his way through the tree cage just as they were pushing the site. It left only the Cypher to watch their back, and well, Rose was able to eat through that defense. Well, I suppose offensive defense very quickly indeed. Nice work. 6-3 now, and well, for Na'Vi, after that pause, we still see them slipping further and further away. It's 5 rounds in a row now for BBL. And again, this was a pistol round win for BBL, but an immediate response from Na'Vi. 3 in a row there, and the game hasn't felt competitive since. That's a great net, but Exit's already passed it. He's already close on the site, and he'll at least find himself one. But how much more can be found from this point? Okay, good work by Filu. We're down to a 3v3.
Yeah, they brought this back. I thought the initial setup was going to be enough to shut them down, but once again, they managed to fight back in and make this a competitive round. It's feeling like they need this round, and well, Lover's Rock. Okay. I was about to say, Filu looked like he slipped the net with Rose not looking, and then he didn't kill him. I'm not sure what went wrong there.
Yeah, I feel like I slipped into a coma for a minute there. It felt like there was like 5 seconds. 3 seconds, let's say, less dramatically, where, yeah, they were looking at each other almost, and neither of them shot. I don't know what that was. Maybe it just seemed to be slower in my mind. So unusual. Either way,
Yes, this should do.
7 on the board. Let's see if we catch it in the replay.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Oh yeah,
This was nice. Here it is. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's close to 3 seconds. What's happening?
They're like mugging each other. I don't know what's just going on. That was so weird. It's just the cheeky pout while staring each other down. I'm like a Zoolander moment. I have no idea what I've just watched, but hey, Lover's Rock was awake at least.
There.
I knew Blue Steel could stop shurikens. I didn't know it could stop bullets, but there we go. I've learned something new here today. 7-3 on the board. It's now 6 in a row for BBL. The team already 1 map to the good. This best of 5 starting to get cut down to size if Na'Vi don't wake up soon. But it was always on their attack side, just around here or there. This is a chance for them to streak 2 together. When it comes to buy rounds, I'm talking about. And they very much need it. Hero's the one to start. Opens it up. Kraven trading, but Kraven's surrounded on the site. That ult shouldn't be committed. It shouldn't be committed, but it is. Loida gets one from backside, but it was LaRock with a triple kill that left him with all that space. I am amazed by what BBL are able to do, man. They have the right plan. They play things. They play sometimes a little too aggressive, but then also they bail themselves out of every bad situation.
He hears that they're just rushing in onto his teammate of Kraven, and he just walks the smoke and just kills 2 as they go down the laneway. He heard all the steps, and clearly the player from main just wasn't ready for that to happen, wasn't watching, and then he kills the player in main as well. So, yeah, rough one.
Yeah, hold this L. Hunter's Fury. Nice and early from the attack. Na'Vi, they've got a tag, but not the follow-up. LaRock, whoa, hold on. He's down to a sliver of health. I mean, a spam or a dart or something in there, but he's surviving.
Leg someone with an ult?
It did look like it was 2 hits, right? But I'm fairly certain you can't hit someone twice with a Hunter's Fury and they live to tell the tale. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah, look, leg hit with a Hunter's Fury first time. Because I don't think anyone could have spammed him unless it was like an instant shock dart at the start of round that landed.
Yeah, or maybe the molly. He was dodging and
could
the
be molly. Hot hands could be. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there that can cause that kind of an issue.
Either way, feels like he's living on borrowed time, but it's probably the one play you'd really want to have cleared. 45 seconds. There's the counter. Hunter's Fury. Opportunity for damage, but they might just be a little bit too far away at this stage. Loiter under pressure, but again, he's going to close the door. But just before it closes, Lover's Rock has hit a shot through the gap. Time ticking away, and they're only just landing into LaRock's setup. Him being alive is a general irritation, but they are wrapping through the heavens. It's something that Lover's Rock is noting. 25 seconds left. He is in the right place at the right time. Filu trading one out, but they need so much more. The shot dart might even get the kill, and it will. And now Filu is all that remains. That time has been going. Oh, he's run out of bullets. He's right. That's going to waste another 3 seconds. Oh, dear Lord. That couldn't have got any worse. 9-3. I don't know how, from the position they were in, Mitch, they have ended up at losing that half 9-3.
Well, that was hilarious right at the end as well. Rose on a sliver of health in the corner. He's like, yeah, you might get me, but you're going down with me. I like that. I like that final stand. But this is the game that, again, we were worried about. For Na'Vi to run away with it seemed unlikely, but they started 3-1 up by losing the pistol and then decimating BBL's economy with an answer. Yet here they are trailing 9-3. It seems like this is BBL's spot at EWC, but this is a best of 5, and this is a first half of map 2. We'll be back after the break for the rest. Welcome back, folks. 9-3, a big lead for BBL after the first half, Tom. And looking at that timeline, it is hard to really understand where things went wrong for Na'Vi. It seemed like they had such a good game ahead of them, but now the second half is where they have to recover things.
Oh, not a bad start. Cloric holding the line, but he's going to need more, and he's got it. Second kill, eventually dealt with, and Rock now doubles down as well. Anything you can do, he can do better, and that is for most things in life. Leaving them in an even scenario, but that spike is not planted yet. They're swinging, they're fighting. They wanted to maybe try and get ahead of things a little bit here. And it almost seems like maybe a bit of an overcook.
Yeah, I think Rose just stuck around on that door for too long, so had to cross in the open. Or stay tucked and probably get taken down in the retake. And this has worked out really well. I actually thought this was a bad rotation that Laroc's going for. Because it's been so long that Na'Vi would realize if he's not planting, he's hardly just sat in the back of B site. But maybe they thought he hadn't cleared the space. He was taking too long to do it. And now he's being spotted. The thing is, he keeps going. He keeps going. This is so smart, but Laroc's shots didn't land. The net doesn't find him either, and now he's got to run right into Hero, who's just hiding around the corner. A nice try by Laroc, but a much-needed round win for Na'Vi.
Yeah, he had the base of a nice broth, but maybe added a few too many spices in there, and ended up being a little bit too hot. Yeah, not gone to plan, especially once you get it back into the 2v2 and you have the wall blocking off the players. I think that's the moment where you just go for the plant and not get that time ticking in your favor. Instead, the round the world strat didn't really work out too well, and at least seeing a bit of a step up from Hero as well. Ruxic being at the bottom of the board is something I never expect to see, and maybe it won't last long. It's also worth noting as well, as I said, like the defensive half has been better for most teams, but it's definitely been better for Na'Vi. So with a pistol under their belt, definite opportunities, although that is not a good start. Bear in mind that I think Hero's also very, very, very low. And he's now gone.
Down A.
Take flight.
Advantage for the attackers. The plant found in just a moment's time. For Na'Vi, They know exactly what they're looking at. This is something that they managed in the previous half. And it led to a streak of rounds, which is something that Navi simply cannot afford to give away. They win their first fight. Kreven, isolated. The spam's good. Rose is 1 HP in that corner. Maximum 2 bullets. If his legs are the ones eating the lead, but he's still living, and he'll strike back for a third. Double digits now for BBL as Navi are being left in the dust.
I guess some would call that karma after what happened in the first half, but I think with the map that we've seen since then, I think we might be looking at a 2-0 start for BBL, because that is devastating. Like the fact that both Hero and Ruxic just get overwhelmed immediately, losing to the pistols. You kind of expect at least a kill or two to come in there, and it just never happened. And then Rose, well, he's been pulling off miracles all game, but that has to be one of the best, and he's already found himself an opening kill onto exit in this round as well, almost having his Hunter's Fury online.
Take flight.
I look to Filu in these moments. There's an ult online. It wouldn't be the time to throw it in. The man disadvantage as well, but maybe if he gets something out of it. 1 HP though. Sent back. Did he pick up the rifle? I think he did. This might be the ult out of him. This could be a way for Navi to reset in the round.
Yeah, it's at a point in the game where you kind of go like, I almost feel that you need to be gambling. Like, you getting back into this just off winning a crazy streak of rounds feels more unlikely than being able to win a couple that maybe you shouldn't. Considering, yeah, as you said, that will put his HP back up as well. So it will give him twice as much of an opportunity to fight. The read here from Navi is also fantastic. They're going to get a third player. One of them is Filu. I think if he stays towards the spawn and ults, that would make the most sense. Instead, though, he's entering into the site. When you are that low, wallbang could take you out of there. Seems like maybe he's not committing to that ult.
Oh, this could be huge. They're all in the lane. Hero could have spammed and taken a few, but instead he takes his time as Filu finds another. Still, no ult pop, but it's not needed. He'll survive on a sliver of health as Lloyd is the last man standing. 4 seconds and a few bullets. And the round is over. A thrifty right back from Navi.
I think it's clear to see that both these teams have struggled on the attack side, but that round felt brutal for BBL. I think the Molotov timing from Filu was perfect. The read that they had towards the end also. But it also came down to just how much time it took for BBL to make their decision. Like, such a long rotation back to the other side of the map. And in the end, all too easy. A win, a loss, and then a win again. And it puts their opponents in a bit of an odd scenario. But with Rose having the Hunter's Fury, I wonder if they might just try something pacey. Heroes just wrecked Kreven in the first second of the round.
Yeah, full mid-fight attempted and successfully pulled off by Navi. Good amount of damage as well on the site push here. This retake is looking juicy. And the shock dart's taking Lover's Rock down. That is a big hit. And a big player to remove. Hunter's Fury sent through by Rose. I can't believe it. I'm genuinely perplexed at this, but it might work out. I guess they've stopped Filu's ultimate, but still a 2v4, still double the numbers that they're up against. Decent damage, but the spam's back even better, and Rose is left with a classic. I really didn't think I saw him run back, and you said the Hunter's Fury, and I thought, no, Tom, he's simply running to rotate late on short. Surely. And he actually committed it. It's a big commitment when the gap is
with it.
A 4-round gap. It's not huge.
The funny thing is I'm fine with the Hunter's Fury. The one thing that I don't think makes sense to me is why they didn't use the Annihilation first. Because I think that you use the Annihilation, because look, he gets it in that moment. You bounce it off the wall, and maybe you catch Filu, maybe you catch someone, and while they're panicking to try and save that player, you then Hunter's Fury, and then maybe someone aggressively peeks. I think that's the best way you win the round. Instead, well, actually, wait, LaRock has used his ult. When did he use his ult?
So actually, that's beautiful, Tom. Because what I was going to say the second you finished talking was, oh, I didn't even realize LaRock used his ult. Because in the replay I saw it, I heard it just about. The second Hunter's Fury is activated, LaRock activates his ult, and he doesn't get the full voice line out because they shot him in the head immediately. So I then rethink what I said. Hunter's Fury going in surprises me, yes, because I thought it was a 2v4 when he did it, but he did it just before LaRock died, and it was an ult combo with LaRock. That then makes perfect sense why he committed it, and it's actually just that Navi's retake timing was perfect to get in there ahead, which builds further into what you were talking about, Filu having such good utility in that early round. Like that round was perfect from Navi, even some dangers they didn't know they were avoiding.
Let's put them in a great spot economically, but also put them in a great spot versus their opponents who, okay, now have guns. All right, never mind. Scrap everything I just said. The ultimates don't matter. You've got Lover's Rock just upgrading his weapon. Great amount of damage already, though, from Cloric. It might seem like a big advantage, but that advantage is slipping. The problem is Lover's Rock is just going ham. I almost want to see him just commit to going to this A site because they have done nothing on B, and he has already got 2 openings here.
Yeah, they waiting for his dash in, and he killed him with a judge. Then they go to retake the space, and he kills him again. He's won this round for them. And Rose, insult to injury, catching exit, who's worried about Lover's Rock being anywhere behind him, coming through the window, and then ends up meeting Rose. Same thing happens here. Filu finally deals with the main danger and finds out there's another one. And now I know why Rose used his ult so early. He's keen to get those ult points back online. 1v3 that I'm surprised Cloric's even sticking around for. Has the Odin, so a decent chance when it comes to wall bangs. Kraven is incredibly low, but if I'm not mistaken, he tagged Kraven, so he doesn't know that, and now he... Wait, run away. You're 14 HP, my friend, and there's an op. Yeah, so he doesn't even know Kraven's low. But that is definitely a save with the tags in, even more so. The op will be carried forward, but 11 on the board, and this is terrifying, Tom. If BBL end up taking this, 3 chances to close it out, and frankly, you could give Navi the choice of map from this point out. They can just pick whatever map they want, and I still think BBL probably win this if it's a 2-0 start. It's such a difficult reverse sweep, and this is not the team I'd want to be trying to reverse sweep.
No, I think especially with you having that fantastic start now technically, I guess, in both halves of the map, even though it was a bit of a weird back and forth, and you're not even close to winning this. Like, not even remotely close. Like, we've seen Rose have one of the best performances I think I've ever seen from him. Like, he's genuinely playing fantastically well. And then you also have, like, this round is Lover's Rock dashing through the A site into short and managing to get opening kills. Like, it's just so impressive how good he's playing individually. He had a fantastic first map, and this is the level we've wanted to see from him. And at times, yeah, sure, I think there may be discomfort on some of the agents he was on, but I also just think that it was a lot of a mental thing. Like, getting back to the point of realizing, okay, I can still do the stuff I was doing. I've just got to do it in a slightly different manner. And the fact that he gets a double entry onto the A side of the map is the reason we see Rose get as much space as he does, and the reason that he's able to even trade off him to get that additional kill. We say that it's very difficult to almost not just be cannon fodder as a Jet on this map, and he's just won a round off basically being cannon fodder, but cannon fodder that fights back.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen that level be hit by him. It's certainly not even in this series, but this was right when Navi felt like they were starting to course correct, and a judge dashes what sends you back to the Stone Age. This is one last buy from the defense as well after timeout, investing everything. Meanwhile, BBL have plenty of chances to bring themselves right up to that finish line. Oh, no, that's awful for exit. And with him down, this round should be done. Look how quickly they accelerate on the back of that pick.
It almost feels like a save, but okay. Filu's made it interesting. It's going to get them in on the fight, but you feel like they have to win this if they are going to commit to it. Paranoia is good. Going to leave Kraven in an awful situation, so they brought it back to a 3v3. A round that was looking over. Stunned up, though. Rose is still just waiting. Not wanting to give anything away, just still trying to hold on to main, but it's something that they should think about. It's something they should almost predict, but they've gone past. They've gone pushing. Cloric is waiting, but he hasn't managed to hit the shots, and it's Rose again. So many moments that this man has taken for BBL, and one that now lets them sit 12-6.
You know, I remember when we saw this team playing in the Tier 2, people said that Rose was going to be dropped when they made it. That, like, you have 4 insanely good players, and then, you know, the IGL who's leading them through Tier 2. But when it came to Tier 1, he just didn't have the stones. He couldn't stand up to the rest of the players. They'll get a real IGL in there, someone who can frag as well. Well, he's certainly doing pretty good in this series. And he's had plenty of moments throughout VCT where he has shown his true level. This ridiculous performance from BBL. Remember, he's the one leading them as well. 6 rounds to the good. Man advantage. It doesn't last very long.
Shadows traveling.
Ruxic felt like he needed to make a play. They invested a lot in that early round with the Hunter's Fury, and now Cloric's gone as well. Paranoia onto Ruxic, has to just try and hide in the corner as a teammate slowly coming in as well, and that's a freebie. At least one back, but again, it has to be this fight back once again. Every time it feels like BBL are garnering an advantage, and it's just whether or not we can see some sort of response.
Yeah, you need a response in a round where you've got Lover's Rock playing with an AWP and a Blade Storm as a backup. It's going to have to be one hell of a response. To start, the wall being broken up top. 2 players there, position given away, but they don't know about the third. That will change soon as the retake comes into play. Navi's holding on for dear life. The drop down onto Kreven should have been good. He was low already, but he survives. They know Kreven's here. And they know that he's tagged. Filu will deal with him. Okay, Lover's Rock. Oh, that stands in their way. Half already on the defuse. Lover's Rock has to be quick, and Hero stands in his way again. 12-7. It's not over yet.
Yeah, I'm honestly, the reason I laughed midway through that is because Loiter went for the most long-range shorty shot I think I've ever seen, and that gets him killed. If he just didn't shoot, I think he or just pulls out a gun afterwards, he kills Filu for free, and that ends up being his undoing. That would have made it so much easier in that 1v1 for Lover's Rock, but they still have plenty to play with in terms of rounds. In terms of weaponry, it's a little bit more of a troublesome position. What I will say, though, is there's a lot of ults that are close.
5 in a row. And it starts with this. Exit. Up on the corner. Seen one already, but the Paranoia forces him back. He'll concede that space. Rotates coming through as well. And the Judge dives into empty space. That's perfect as a start for Na'Vi. They've avoided the dangers. In goes the ult and catches one. Okay, one player annihilated, but still a lot more to be done. Kreven is being taken out, and the op goes in for a little more. That was a leg shot landed, but no kill till Filu strikes. And a 2v4 with damage done, and players stuck in that corner. It was never going to be a prolonged fight. 12-8. 4 more needed.
We're finally starting to see some life in Ruxic as well. Like, he had a truly horrible first half, and someone that is normally such a reliable figure in this Na'Vi roster. If he starts to come back, only 4 rounds now the difference, which I say only, it's obviously still quite a bit, but you're starting to see the things that make you excited about Natus Vincere.
Revealing area.
Oh, with that Annihilation being utilized in the last round, it means it's not available for this one. A piece of the puzzle that would have been quite valuable, especially when you look at this A-site hold. There's currently only 1 man here. Ruxic's gone walkabouts again. It seems like the game plan is to try and remove Kreven, and that's exactly what they've done.
Well played by Hero as well. He's under pressure on the site. Utility coming absolutely everywhere, and a Jet diving in, but no mistakes being made. Clean as can be for Na'Vi with a flawless round. They've pushed up to 12-9. Again, BBL, they can be lucky that they had that big streak. If Na'Vi keep this up, we'll be going to overtime.
I wonder when's the moment that maybe we get a pause coming out from Key. I think even just a stemming of momentum would be quite important. Like, you're using your ultimates up incrementally in rounds that aren't going your way, allowing that momentum to swing into the favor of Na'Vi. And that's the thing. Like, I think Filu's gone from the bottom of the board to now racing for the top of it. Weaponry, again, isn't the best. Now, I will say we've seen the Hunter's Fury especially used a lot in rounds like this, rather than in the actual buys. I kind of hope that's not the case this time out, when you know that it's going to be a better buy in the next.
Spike down mid.
Feeler's flash actually goes a little behind Rose, but the shots land anyways. Ult sent back, and it's found at 2v5 advantage, so gotta be relatively happy with that if you're Navi.
Enemy remaining.
Looking likely to be 12 to 10 damage there for Loida, but he's got a few more coming his way, and the jumping Odin from Cloric opens the gap for Ruxic to finish it. 2 rounds now in a row for Navi, and it's definitely looking a lot more doable for this squad now. I'm not surprised. This is what I was going to say. If they didn't call it last round, this is definitely the one for a pause.
Yeah, it was a low buy, so this is where all the pieces are going to be available for BBL. It's where you're going to have a couple of ultimates to play with as well. Especially, I think that Hunter's Fury, I wouldn't mind seeing more of a direct A take with that utilized. I think that Hero, again, he started to wake up into the match a bit, but they're leaving him on an island in an awful lot of rounds and playing retake, so it kind of sets you up to deal with the post-plant. But also, they've been aggressively pushing Kraven, so there may be a change to sort of try and deny, like, be it Ruxic taking that space or somebody clearing your lurk, because once that lurk is gone, the retake becomes an awful lot easier for the side of Na'Vi, because you don't have to worry about that player in mid. So I think plenty that could be adapted. For the Na'Vi side, well, more of the same. I think the operator has made a big difference, but also Filu's just looking great over on that Phoenix, and if he can keep that momentum for a couple more rounds, we might be going in 1-1.
There really is nothing I like more than being wrong, and Filu's been one of those cases for me where I thought him being kept this year was a completely wrong move. I think that the ceiling that we saw from him was quite low, and like going into last year. And then the role that he was playing also perplexed me even further, because I thought you'd at least have a swap up. But he's looked so good this year. He's definitely converted me into a fan, changed my mind. Paranoia here is perfect. They have a wall that they're hiding behind, sent in by Filu, but the spam's through, and that choke point, that narrow little laneway, there's not very far you can go. That's a 5v3 off, barrier up. And the timeout may not have made a difference.
It's not something that we've seen Na'Vi fight for too often. A lot of the time they've given up that A main control and then hunkered down on the site, or as said, even played retake, but they completely switch up, and I think that has caught BBL completely off guard. The attack side again starting to be a burden for them on this map, and almost mirroring the great defensive half they had last time out that ended up in OT versus Heretics and ended in a defeat. Also now walking into the Odin, even sort of giving the game away. The cam has spotted them. They don't even expect Cloric to be here. A nasty off angle that's not properly cleared, and he's even going to go out for more. This is looking like a potential for another flawless round. And the only thing that can really be done is if he wants to try and take the spike and go for a 1v5. I have a feeling that maybe Loiter's just going to chill.
I don't know what gives you that feeling, Tom, but I think there might be something to it. Yeah, carrying that weapon through probably is the most value.
10 seconds left.
And Philo hasn't gone his way. So, that's, well, there's still a little bit of a risk. The wall's not quite closing in, but Ruxic's spidey senses are tingling. He's so very close. No, 2 seconds left. He's rushing with a charge! And he's found him! That's ridiculous from Ruxic. What gave it away, man? What a guess.
I don't know. Maybe they cleared everything else, but it definitely seems like this man had the perfect read.
Don't ever play this guy in battleships, bro. My God.
Just guessed them all immediately. But that is rough. Weaponry gone. A weaker purchase. And for BBL, what is looking like a crumble. Look at the aggression of the defense. Considering that this is OT on the line, they are pushing into the spawn. Kreven is in a nightmare position once again. He has had a horrible half because he has been pressured and pushed, and Hero survived with just 1 HP, but that's enough for Lover's Rock to go down. Still, they'll get the plant. Still, they have the Hunter's Fury. The fact is, they are a man down in a map that should have already been theirs.
This flank is huge. No one's even looking in that direction as Exit takes down LaRock. We're in a 2 versus 4. Rose trying his best of another big play, but it has to be Loida to do it. Low HP on Exit. This is definitely doable. It's a good smoke to give him room to play with, and he needs it now to fall back. The shorties hunting him down. Good spam on the first. Loida, he has to hit these shots immediately. In fact, it was the full HP player that he just swapped spots with, creeping his way back to Jen. This is actually beautiful. I don't think they'll expect this. They think that he's under. They think it's a freebie, but in fact, it's anything but! Loida with a 4-piece pickup and 13-11. What a way to close this out. This has been a high-octane game from the get-go, but I've not seen a 1v2 played that well in a while. My God.
Oh, no, there was so much mixed into that. An element of luck of when he goes jumping back into the smoke that there's nobody in there. The fact that he then manages to wrap all the way back around to the generator. And, of course, there's nobody expecting him to be there at that point. They've just seen him dance with death. And for Na'Vi, that is brutal. Like an incredible comeback after what was a very poor first half. But even still, it ends with them 2 maps down in a best-of-5, Mitch, and going into what is the second of BBL's choices. And last time out, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not sure about this choice. I'm still not sure about this choice, but the fact is they absolutely dominated, so who am I to doubt them anymore?
Oh, yeah, BBL coming in as well with 3 chances to close this out. You know, one thing I didn't get to say in the round right at the end, I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure Hero didn't have any of his setup down. He was like getting to the site super late and still managed to set them up with a man advantage, but it's the clutch that ends up closing it out. Oh, what a wild map, Tom. And now, as we said, BBL sit 2-0. One of the next 3 maps will lock them in for EWC as the last attendee. It could go the distance, and that last map was incredibly close, but for Na'Vi, now it is a steep vertical climb, a reverse sweep, and a BO5 needed, starting on Breeze after the break. Welcome back, folks. It has been quite the journey on the road to EWC, but we may now be reaching the end, Tom. 3 maps in a row needed for Navi to lock in that final spot. Otherwise, we will be sending BBL to join Mates and KC at EWC. This qualifier has been packed with talent and a lot of surprises that I wasn't expecting to see, Tom. Both teams that we see here today are sort of examples of that. BBL beating Foot,
yeah.
Navi beating Fnatic, and yet, if you get knocked out here, none of it means anything.
Yeah, it's like you go through the Turkish gauntlet on one side, and then, yeah, Navi having to take down Fnatic, and I think you look back to that best of 5 series that Fnatic played as well, like earlier on for qualification, where KC go 2-0 up. Even when they bring it back, it seems still that they ran out of steam towards the end, and KC were able to close it out. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Like, again, you always say that the sooner you close it out, the better, for obvious reasons, but also because the more confidence Navi will be able to gain over time, and also the more or less favored, I suppose, the maps will become towards you and your choices. So I think it's going to be quite interesting going into this one, because we haven't seen much Breeze in general from the side of Navi. Obviously playing it a little bit at kickoff, and I think only playing it once in their 5th Group 5 stage game, but that was versus a KC that literally hadn't won a game. So I actually hadn't won a map that wasn't Haven, so it really doesn't teach us anything. Whereas on this side of things, a lot of it has been played by the BBL side. A good victory versus Eternal Fire, but then a few defeats here and there as well. So I wouldn't say this is like one of their strongest maps, but clearly one they feel very comfortable, and also one that allows them for a lot of that individual skill and a lot of aggression.
Well, that's the thing, right? The fact that we're at that midpoint in the series, technically, right? 3 out of 5 we're about to go into, but then BBL are the ones that have gotten to decide where this battlefield takes place, right? For Navi, it's got to feel like they dropped the ball coming into this. As you know, like we said, that second map pick, it was a risk. However, that's twice now we've seen them do quite well on the map. It's just unfortunate that they'll go the distance. Navi always play every regulation round, but couldn't get it across the line. And I do think that for in this matchup in particular, Navi almost got a little bit unlucky. On both maps, I don't think they played horrendous. It just feels like BBL are hitting that extra level. You've got Rose playing a heater of a game, but you've also got the fact that the game plan looks perfectly adhered to by BBL in so many of these rounds. I think it is fair to say that Navi, they need to step it up, despite the fact that they've been playing a good game. And then that leaves me thinking, what is missing? Exit's been there. Like, you've seen a good start. Yeah. That's it, because Filu's bounced up. He needed to have a good start, but ended up heating up late into it. We've seen Exit be there as well, but it doesn't feel like all those factors are online at the start of the map, and they're coming online a little too late.
But yeah, it's like you can't go into, both games having a terrible first half, a 10-2, or 2 rounds on the first half of the first map, 3 rounds where you were 3-1 up in the second map. Like, they're having to fight from a deficit in every single map, and the thing is, this is a very common factor against teams who play BBL. Like, yesterday, I think, was a little bit of a surprise, because you even go back to the last Breeze they played, and it was a 9-3 attack side half where their opponents then go on to win 6 rounds in a row in the second half before they close it out. Also, a little bit scary is the Eternal Fire when they played Breeze versus BBL, won both pistols and still lost the map. So it shows that this team is just, in general, fairly comfortable on this one, but it's mainly due to the role swaps. I really like the swaps they've done. Again, it adheres to everything we've been talking about today. Lover's Rock has moved more onto the Neon, and LaRock then picks up the slack. So they actually didn't change comp. If you look back to the last 4 times they played this map, it's the same comp, but they swapped who's playing what, and they put LaRock onto the Jet and Lover's Rock onto the Neon. And I think him having that additional movement has helped him a lot individually, and that's been the major defining factor of this map for them. Whereas you go over to the other side of things, and you'll never guess what composition Na'Vi are playing. It's the one that they play on most maps. They're running the same stuff, which I'll be honest, I'm very happy about, because one of the things I really hated with them was the consistent changing of everything all of the time. They've now stuck to something a little bit more standard in terms of constantly running that Neon and the Phoenix. I'm still not crazy over the top of liking Phoenix on this map. I think it's decent, but I still think that because the map is so large, a lot of his utility becomes a little void. But as a secondary duelist with flashes, etc., I think it can still be useful.
We haven't seen if Navi are going to make any massive changes with Locke still to go in, but I think the expectation is that won't be the case. And like we say, I do like the idea of picking a composition that is sort of your baseline, and then just making some pivots depending on matchups, depending on maps as well, but having a core that your team can build around. I think especially for Navi, with having the substitute, like, their year has been very weird with the revolving door of a 5th, even when they have a set 5th in the form of Exit, but with visa issues and so on. I think this just allows the system to be a little bit more reliable, even with those moving parts. But indeed, in this matchup, we said it going into last map, and right away we were given a treat. My eyes are drawn to Exit and Lover's Rock. As you said, Lover's Rock doing so much better when it comes to having that extra maneuverability. And I think in the first couple of rounds, we're going to get to know whether this is the same old thing we just saw, Navi getting squashed outside of the first 4 rounds, or if we actually have a game on our hands from the get-go. Because I feel like, you know, like you said, Navi... I've been saying Navi played pretty well when it came to the buy rounds, and we see that in the fact that especially the last map is super close. But the fact that they have to constantly dig themselves out of a ditch, it's not easy for any team to do that. A pistol will help out massively. And they start here on the defense.
Yeah, I think the worst thing is like the last map, they were 3-1 up and then just lost 8 rounds in a row. It's just like that first half has just eluded them every single time, no matter the circumstance. And then it's like, oh, now we're 6 rounds behind. Let's start playing better. I don't know if it's crunch time. I don't know what gets in the head, or maybe they need that correction from Angel.
Camera taken.
I'm not sure, but they have not had a good start. One thing that excites me, Viper for Rooksix. Statistically, one of his best agents.
Oh, Philo and Chloric are able to pull back that early fight. LaRock does just the same, denying any further elbow aggression, but paying with his health bar for his trouble. A site open, and a plant coming through. It's Ruxic, the only one close by, but not close. Okay, never mind. definitely close enough to have impact. He's dropped one and left the planter alone for the time being. Snake bit him out into the open as well. This is getting a little bit dicey, and LaRock's in a hurry to get back. So he's going through mid with his knife out. That's a free pickup. Well done by Ruxic. Good round from Chloric as well. And Navi end up with a pistol. Good start in the half.
We'll see if they can build it into a good first half, because I definitely think that's going to be the talking point. Of course, last time out when we saw this map, or in fact in pretty much all the victories that we've seen on this map from BBL, it's the attack side where they shine. Their 13-9 victory versus Eternal Fire was a 9-3 attack. Their 13-5 win versus Vitality was an 11-1 attack. A 6-3 attack versus Pacific, but when they lose, it's normally because they've had a poorer attack side. So for Na'Vi, a good start. Obviously, we don't have much data from them. They've only played it once over the last few months, but again, it was also a solid attack side from them. But already decent from Ruxic, and sort of as I was saying, like his Viper stats, like you look at ACS, etc., they are ridiculous. Like, give him quasi-senti utility, and he's really hard to kill.
Only I could see.
Nice hero. Onto LaRock, onto Lover's Rock as well. Everyone showing up with the Sheriffs. Indeed, on both sides. Not bad work from Loida, but that Molly's going to force him out if Hero wasn't behind him, pummeling him with lead. That's one hell of a round from Hero. 4 kills with the Sheriff. I think all headshots as well. And
all
any
5
danger.
kills were Sheriff kills as well, because the other was Chloric.
Yeah, in fact, all 6 kills in the round were because Loida got one as well. So it was a Sheriff round if ever I've seen one. But a great start for Na'Vi. 4 players alive, a little bit of money making. Although not so much in this round, as you don't usually have full investments. But confidence at an all-time high. And yeah, the first kill wasn't a headshot. What a noob.
Oh. Does now mean that
Cover going out.
was that a force buy from BBL?
It looks like it, yeah. Credits are too low here for...
Just clearly feeling very confident that they can win back the second round, and yeah, they didn't even really do too much damage. It could be down to the fact that, as we sort of saw, Na'Vi love to go for that sort of like 3-2 in terms of players that properly invest and the ones that play pistols, so they were trying to catch them, but when you only get a singular kill in a round where you're full buying, that's a little worrying.
Ruxic's taking a bit of a risk sticking around. He'll pay, but he's gotten his fair share. 3 under his belt already. Rose, the danger man in some of the rounds. So far in this series, been smoked off, but a plant found. This is not exactly a comfortable round for Na'Vi at this point. Rose, you have a rifle, my friend. There's no need to use the Sheriff. All is well.
Take this.
Oh, that's a missed shot. That could be costly. That stun's hit, though. Rose resets. Swings in with the rifle for 1. Swings in for another. It's a 4K from Rose. The IGL leading by example as Loida closes it out. And, oh, man, that one was looking like a sensational delivery coming out of Na'Vi. A 2-0 start facing into an eco, and they lose it to Rose. What a series he's having. He wants to go to France, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I feel like, firstly, if you're Ruxic, you might be a little bit annoyed just with, like, obviously he played an aggressive position, but the fact he was able to get so much done from this corner, 3 kills, and then the round still slips away. But yeah, Exit's got to feel horrible. That kill was so free. You have time to pull out the pistol and just kill him, but goes for the no-scope a little too early, and it misses. And while the good thing about getting 4 kills in the previous round is Rose now has his ultimate, and they are just clearing them from middle. Hero thought he had a cheeky angle. Instead, he's been wrecked.
Poison's off.
And how clean of a round it is from BBL is certainly concerning. If they're allowed to get away with this pace he plays, it's so strange. I keep catching myself in the early half being like, I mean, it's still such early days. You'd often be in a series 5-3 on the board, and you're like, well, now we get to find out, you know, how this half plays out. This is the real meat and potatoes of it. But with how the series has gone, with how the first map went for Na'Vi, certainly with how Ascent went in the first half as well, It does just feel like this is where they need to show up. And they get a good start. And they get a third round that it should be a 3-0. And they get a man taking a risk in that third round who gets 3 kills. And they lose it.
Yeah.
It really does feel like they can't do anything right when it comes to those first 6 rounds. They'll get a couple on the board and then go missing.
I'll be honest with you. I think 6 is generous.
Wow.
They've lost the first half of the first map 10-2, and then they lost the next one where they lost 8 rounds in a row from round 5 to 12.
For 4 rounds,
I would say
isn't it?
for the first 12 rounds, they haven't been able to get anything right, which is yeah. It's normally the earlier rounds where they do, and then it just completely goes off kilter. So we have to hope, if we want this to be a competitive match, that Na'Vi can break back a little bit earlier. But hey, why not more of the same? A site, A site, A site. Of course, this round is not a proper investment, although saying that, there is an operator for exit. And the Marshals found a headshot as well. Never mind, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's definitely still some danger in this round. Exit deleted from it, but that all can be recovered. BBL have a late lurk in mid, but a late lurk on the late lurk coming through. You can see Kraven makes it through the doors, but he hasn't been spotted. They haven't cleared him. Okay, Filu goes through and double checks it. He might be seeing through walls. What is that? Last man standing now. Over towards main. It will be Loida. All by his lonely. And for Navi, okay, there's one down already. It gets a little shaky, but an immediate response from Hero. Ruxic seemed to have had this shot lined up as well. The third for Navi at last, but should have been on the board earlier. Still, I think he'll take it, winning a round like that.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if Hero's actually got a kill with anything other than a Sheriff so far. 4 kills on the backside, and a Sheriff this round gets another. 3-2. The jumble sale buy has worked out for them. And an earlier break back. This is the thing. You want more of a back and forth from Na'Vi, or just if they can start streaking the rounds together. But I think BBL are always going to find gaps in your game. That was lovely, though, from Filu. Thing is, though, their opponents obviously building up some credits of their own with the past couple of rounds. Now they look to hit into the B side. Now, this is, for me, the scarier of the two. You've got both Ruxic and Hero, Cypher and Viper. I'm not sure this is where you want to be going.
No, they're not sure either. Looks like they will slow the play down. First shock takes out the trip.
Joke's over.
Second, not so much. And the ult here from the defensive side to re-clear out on mid. Filu's going to get a lot of information, but they've actually peeled back to play into this. So Filu clears that, sees nobody there. Or did he see Loida?
I think he saw Loiter. I think that's the only one he saw.
A little bit of a silly peek from Loida. But I thought that was to late play into the B site. But now they're shifting to A. Maybe he showed himself on purpose. Who knows?
Way. A bit of a game of chess. Viper's Pit has just been utilized on B, so evidently you're right. The read has been wrong from that defense. They do have main control, though. That's what makes this a little bit tougher. That backside also holding, and a slight reveal, but they haven't been able to deal with it. In fact, they've killed both players. That surprise operator in main wasn't a surprise at all. With seconds left, they managed to get that spike down. They managed to clear the A site, and for the 2 players left on Na'Vi, Mitch, it has to be a save. Maybe the plan is just avoid Hero and Ruxic.
Oh, if it's a plan, it's definitely a plan that I can get behind.
Yeah.
And they've done very well on the A site also. And then putting the early presence to B, whether it was part of the plan or not, I think it definitely played in their favor. If Filu did see Ruxic, which I do think there was a chance he caught it. Or, not Ruxic, sorry, was it Rose?
Loiter.
Loida, it was Loida. It was the Omen, okay. It was tucked in a window. If he did see him, then you stay as a 3-stack on B because you think, oh, I caught them. I saw them. They were hiding and they're about to execute. And then the Viper's Pit goes down again because you're believing in that. No rifle to be saved. And a really big round for BBL. And again, I have to compliment it because I feel like this has been the case all game where Na'Vi have ideas, but Rose calls such a bloody good game that they're falling for his ruse. They're not playing a bad game. They're just playing a different game than what they think they are. Because Rose is... He's mega mind.
I'm not sure how much he'd like that comparison.
Not aesthetically. I mean, in terms of prowess.
I'll take the aesthetic, and he can take the actual brain.
Yeah, you've got the aesthetic. He's got the cognitive ability. That's all that matters.
That's actually what I wanted. I wanted the look. No, yeah, I can understand the pause being taken. Obviously, a back and forth early, but again, you get that boost in the early rounds, and it doesn't really come through for too much. And then you have that round where, even though they did find the gap, there are like less players on the A site. I think it's very surprising that the Na'Vi players that were there get nothing. Like, I think there was about 20 seconds left where you have a player deep on the classic sort of plant spot, but then also you have an operator in main, and Loiter just kills both of them in one foul swoop. I don't think that should be happening, and considering, again, it's going to put your economy on the line. Obviously, Hero... by the way, Hero has only had kills with the Sheriff. He has 5 kills, and they're all with the Sheriff. So, him going back to his primary weapon so far might not be the worst thing, but Exit has been having a bit of a howler. And that's the thing throughout a lot of their series. He's very hit and miss. He will either be your best player or your worst player. And so far, in this, he is their worst.
I always thought howler meant a good game. That's interesting. Learned something new today. Oh, this is going to be a crunch on mid. But they're waiting for contact. They're waiting for BBL to go forward. Phoenix flashed around the corner in a big blitz that never seems to be coming based on the positions of BBL. The spike in hands of Jet, who's walking back. 3 players in B main. This is going to be a fake on B. The thing is, if the players in mid decide to rotate passively, that's fine. If they go through spawn together, then it's clean. But instead, it's one player walking spawn. One single knife concealed in the back. It shouldn't be the biggest of deals, but it certainly could prove to be a problem for the rotates back in the other direction. BBL already starting decently well, but Omen's TPing away. Now you've only got 2 left, and then this little stab in the back from Chloric could change the course of this round completely. He's already found 1, and now look at Rose, completely stuck here, but he's posted with the op, and he's missed a shot, and he's down to 1 HP. Rose is dead.
The thing is, he doesn't care. Like, it seems like that was the plan all along. Versus an eco, it's maybe a bit more than needed, but I guess with how some of their last couple of rounds versus low buys have gone, they just want to make sure they get the plant down. So they had 2 players already going A, the TP across, now only just realizing and getting in towards this site, and Loiter is just on a tear. The end of Ascent was his, and it seems like that hasn't stopped into Breeze. The last round he got the double opener on this site. This round he closes with a 4K, and if Loiter's in form, I dare say, I don't know there's anything that Na'Vi could do.
Yeah, it genuinely, at 4-3, Tom, I feel like such a biased caster first time saying these sort of things, but I'm biased because of the game I've seen happen so far. Obviously, coming in, we had the expectation BBL could roll, but we've seen it now in both maps. There's been a half where they completely dominated, where the attack side especially has felt so well called. Actually, it's not even true. The defense has been there as well. They've had the reads, the rotates, the stacks on site almost every time. And Na'Vi are having a tough game trying to keep up with it. This is a very different approach. They set up for a mid-trap last round and nobody came. This time they're holding, waiting, and BBL walk up on mid. The trap avoided and now stepped into when it's well and truly broken. The Hunter's Fury doesn't find what it needs, and LaRock, oh, it's a bit of a messy fight. The up traded out by Exit, gets up close, and the rifle lands 2!
Oh, okay.
He's done so well. A man who could have been dead to rights moments ago, but now, he didn't realize how much ammo he had left, did he?
Well, if he did, then I think we have issues. I'm going to hope that he did. I'm going to hope that he didn't. Rooksik in a clutch.
He heard the TP. He's heard the steps.
He's got to know exactly where his opponent is. And now Rose, do they expect the deep angle on the second? Rooksik's expecting it, and it's a miss shot.
What?
Well, luckily, they have Rooksik to bail them out of another dangerous scenario. And unfortunately for the side of BBL, they did not play that one together. I believe he's going to go on a retrieval mission and just make sure he gets the operator for his teammate. He's got plenty of time to make sure he gets back to this defusal.
Yeah. The sounds get scary, but don't worry. It's all bark, no bite, as Profek would say. And 4-4. A big round from Ruxic, really. A good position late, having pushed up A. Hearing the TP here in the steps, Lloyd would it was an easy pickup, but honestly, props to him for clearing rows. I think it's expected. One player on window, plant for main, should be someone else main. But exit especially, at double, shouldn't have gotten away with it. It looked like he was dead to rights after being tagged up by the Blade Storm. But Navi by a thin margin. Just about eke out the round. There's still a full buy for BBL. They got a lot of credits under their belt. And it looks like the B site with Viper's Pit online is the target. They're going to completely overwhelm it. At least that's the plan.
I'm out of here.
And here's the push.
Watch out.
Hunter's Fury used, but Hero hasn't been found. Oh, perfect position. Absolutely sublime, but the trade is quick enough. Doesn't even matter. They need to clear the guy from the back of the site, and well, they have done. Loiter again removes the danger and leaves two standing. Clearly feeling the pressure, though. Viper's Pit's going to be put into play. It makes crossing so much more difficult and may even deter the defenders from going for this altogether. Although, it seems with the drone, they still want to try and fight this.
I'm surprised at 4-4 in all honesty. Man, disadvantage is stacked up and a Viper's Pit to play through. This shouldn't be lost unless massive mistakes are made. The spam is good, but without dealing with Lloyd and without knowing that he's that low, he gets to just play a pretty favorable fight. Moving in and out of these smokes. The orb inside the pit or indeed playing in it. And yeah, he'll go hunting afterwards.
He's not.
It's going to be easy for Ruxic.
Ninja. Trying to ninja.
No. He'll never get away with a ninja here, but cause damage. Leave some of these players dead in the dirt. That's what it's all about. And he's going to make it out as well. That spike's not going to kill him. 2 kills from that position. Hey, Ruxic, my hat's off to you. Well done. And getting out with the rifle. About as big a win as you could have hoped for, but that's really a symptom of the times. BBL 5-4. The lead's still theirs here on the attack.
I don't think for either of these sides is too bad a position just yet. As I said, historically, the attack side of this map has been far better for BBL, but I don't think they'll be feeling too much of the pressure just yet. It's also interesting because, again, the Larocque and Lovers Rock have just gone missing. 2 players that have been fantastic throughout this series so far, but haven't really had much impact on it. Of course, the double dive into the chokes can be quite difficult, and again, challenging for that space. Floric up close, through goes Lovers Rock, but he needs something here, and well, he's found one. This is such an awkward battle, but it seems like just as I critiqued the double duelists for not being there, they get all the kills.
Yeah. They show up in force.
You're welcome.
Tom Biz curse continues. It used to be me, Tom. It used to. I'm glad I've passed that on to you, Hero. There's one for you. But, saving this weapon is indeed the better call. And he's connected the dots just in time to make it across on mid before Larocque pushes out to contain that space. So, okay, a rifle carried forward for Navi, but the lead continuing to climb up in the favor of BBL. And you think about Navi previously, when it comes to this map, from what we've seen from them in stage 1, Tom, I'm not massively excited for the attack side. I think there's been some struggles there. Good attack against KC. So there's always something to talk about there, right? When it comes to stage 1. But you go back to kickoff, it wasn't looking too hot. And with the game that we've had so far, I do feel like BBL are, again, within that danger zone to run away with it.
Yeah, I guess my counter would be that now they have, I feel like, an identity. Whereas in kickoff, I don't think they did. Like, I like the Phoenix. I like the Phoenix on Filu. I think the Phoenix on the defense kind of sucks. I think that if you can get Exit and Filu thriving on that attack, it's where I expect them to have their better half because of it. But I do feel like I also expect if Lovers Rock starts to build up, which he just did, and he gets the operator on the defense, that's going to be very hard to deal with. So I'm much more confident in their attack now than I was back at kickoff, but I do agree that, like, they haven't exactly lit the world on fire so far this series. when it comes to their attack in halves.
And then that's more the problem, right? It's like my understanding of BBL so far in this series hasn't felt too heavily challenged. They look like the better squad. When it comes to brawls, they tend to come out on top. Decent work by Ruxic. Pit stays online, and he clears backside. That's too much impact. He shouldn't be allowed to get away with that. The spike's stuck in the double doors. TP taken into their spawn. Now that's a new one. Haven't seen that in quite a while. And now he's behind enemy lines, but completely alone with 5 HP. Can't help but think that'll...
some rounds.
Might have been better next round.
Yeah, I guess like, from the shadows is one of like a select few where if it gets used in a sort of silly way, I kind of go like, nah, okay. Like I agree. There's definitely some use for disruption and information, but I think his logic was my teammate's alive. I want to get out and not die with the spike, and then the second he uses TP, his teammate immediately dies. So
yeah, I mean it was one of those. I can summarize the logic. Natively as well. They would have in that moment said Forza BBL and then just went for it. And fair play.
Aggressive push once again. 6-6 half would definitely will be the best by far that we've seen. That molly. I don't know how much it's going to help out. It will slow down this push once more. An advantage. And even increase the aggression of Heroes done well. It's given them a position where it feels unlosable, but he's taken a fight versus Loiter, so it's always a little dangerous. But there you go. The hero only using the Sheriff is dissipated. Now, unless Larocque has a miracle under his belt, I think that's going to be a tough one to recover.
That was one of my favorite Filu plays I've ever seen. He goes up to main, fires a flash in, completely blinding Exit. Exit gets tagged because no one else got blinded except Exit by the flash. And then as Exit looks to leave, Filu pops his head in one more time and says, I'm gonna molly you all your 10 HP. Good luck with that. And Exit just has to run forward and die. That was the strangest supportive utility I've ever seen. But supporting the other team. It did. All thanks to that utility. They take a 6-6 score at the halftime. Navi definitely showing a better first half, but let's see how it goes in the second. BBL feel overdue a dominant half. We'll see how this story ends, or if there's more to it. A few extra chapters after the break. Welcome back, folks. This has been a close half to start us out. A back and forth affair. Rounds traded out bit by bit, and we end up neck and neck at the half. A lights out start from Filu, though, as 2 kills already under his belt, and he's looking for a little bit more. Looks like he might have overheated down to 10 HP. He's got another flash to work with, but doesn't want to get too aggressive. A man advantage is there for Navi for now.
Gambled wrong, or maybe not. I think they just saw Hero going back in the other direction. The win of that fight actually makes a lot of difference. Allows them to cross into the site, and they drop the spike. Bear in mind how low Filu is already.
I'm out
He could get taken down from a straight shot through the wall, and Lover's Rock has definitely turned this around. Look at the HP. Look how low they are, and a freebie as well, as if Lover's Rock hadn't already done enough. He's going to add a third. And what was looking like, wow, a great start to the round from Filu ends up dwindling into a pistol round for BBL.
And we talk so much about how important those early starts are for Na'Vi. They had it in the first. But when it comes to this one, pistol round slipped. Double kill to open it up from Filu. And Lover's Rock is the one to really steal it out, claw it away from their grasp. And now we end up with an eco. Na'Vi gonna try to make it work. As we go towards the B side, it's just going to be numbers. I like this. Flooding in on the back of your Viper wall. You get very close with that wall, and that has overwhelmed the defense. In fact, they're taking all of the kills. Hero's got 2 with the Bandit, and suddenly it looks like Navi's round. What a great play.
Honestly, I think the defenders should just save at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what weaponry they have, but is it really worth just throwing it in to the opponents? Well, I guess Loiter thought it was. It seems to happen so regularly in this series that winning the pistol round just doesn't seem to mean anything, especially for BBL. The amount of second rounds that they are losing, I think that's something that they're going to have to look into if they are the ones to make it to the main event, because the amount of early deficits they have had to deal with because of losing these second rounds is mad. 7-7. Well, as perfect as a breakback as you could hope for the side of Na'Vi, and realistically not that much of a surprise anymore.
Yeah, this is, at some stage, we're going to have to acknowledge this is the norm. So the fact that, and I was wondering, because I didn't see in the moment Hero splitting from the pack for the elbow push, and I was thinking, was it that they put so much pressure with Exit running up the left side of site that he could just walk through the right of the Viper wall? But no, it was actually just that space given up for free on mid and mid-con. It's definitely a mistake from BBL. But for Na'Vi, it's also them capitalizing from a position where that shouldn't really have been possible. Certainly shouldn't have been nearly as easy as it seemed.
Filu already having a bit of a field day in this second half. A strong start to the round. The only thing that worries me is just the position of Lover's Rock. If he decides to leave, and this is easy for them, but if he sticks around,
Lover's Rock heard them.
He could be there undoing. They are all pushing this corner, but they're pushing it wide enough that I don't know. No, he's going to get it. The others should just leave. At that point, you just run away, but the paranoia setup is perfect. That's 2 guns now that can be retrieved. One of them taken by him. And then they still have a couple of players stacked up on the other side of the map.
Loiter was just about to rotate. He started to leave and came back because the steps were heard.
No.
BBL, they had the read on this play. This time it's not based on Rose calling a Giga Brain play. Instead, it's just Lover's Rock being so aggressive and hearing that little tell. The rap from Rose could not be better. And yes, Exit presents a pretty big danger. I think he's going to kill Kraven. But at that stage, I think it's an immediate trade from Rose. 12 seconds. They're going to go for the plant. And of course, they're planting for Rose. But the wall has made this difficult. It'll fall just afterwards. And Rose misses the shots as well. Okay, now it's looking doable. Na'Vi immediately look to isolate him and find Lover's Rock by his side. A double for Chloric. This round was looking lost moments ago. But Lloyd is the man against them. He has a smoke still to play with, but he's also got a few bullets in his chest. 8-7. Great round for Na'Vi as it looked like they let it slip.
Yeah, good recovery. That was the main thing. I think that even just a small piece of utility, the little bit of cover that was given to Clark was enough to sort of save him from going down. But this got so dangerous. The setup, perfect. The contact, even the molly that was thrown out became null and void. And I thought when Kraven got this kill, it was over. But instead, he catches both with the aggression and then even gets rid of the last player. A lead taken by Na'Vi so early in the second half, and oh dear, see you later. He's killed off Filu twice, but Hero did find a response.
Yeah, but the thing is they immediately know that this is going to be presence across the map. That's nasty. Kreven used his wall to try to sneak through, but he's been shut down. And the play was obvious. Why would Phoenix be alone like that?
Hello.
But now the play from Hero is going to lock the round down. It's a freebie onto Rose, and it's Spawn taken by the attack side. Now they need to only worry about their flank and mid, and now they know exactly where they need to worry about. Na'Vi again look to be in a difficult position, but fight their way out of it, and the lead, it's extended even further. This is a save being called by BBL. 9 rounds now on the board for Na'Vi.
Yeah, again, the one thing that I think needs to be looked at the moment is just how much space we're seeing picked up by this attack side. The fact that Ruxic was able to sort of sneak his way out of the Viper Orb and take the kill onto Kreven is a problem, but I think also the gap that Hero was able to exploit in middle, that, as you said, that was what ended the round. Like, he's able to get all of the information off his ult, but also, more importantly, kill off Rose. So again, not a massive surprise to see the pause coming in from Key. I think that these last couple, like the one before last, you kind of go, okay, you lost when you had an advantage, but you still had a lot of weak weapons. That was what ended up being the defining factor. I think that one was much more of, okay, we lost because they managed to get full mid control behind us and sneak out of B main in the same round.
And we said this from Hero doing this in a previous round as well, where he was able to take this free space over mid. I think it was the eco round that they won in round 2. It's definitely been a gap for BBL, and good to see them calling the pause to address that. But a 2-round gap and the economy now in a pretty shaky spot. That should be double digits for Na'Vi. But I say that, the way that this game has gone, that kind of a buy from BBL could be even stronger than a full buy.
Hey, you never really know. It's been a game with a lot of madness, a lot of weak buys, succeeding, a lot of rounds that shouldn't have been. In fact, we don't even know what the score could have been like if that OT hadn't happened with the loiter clutch.
Yeah.
Now for RV to finally find themselves in the lead, because again, they've always been fighting back to almost try and get to overtime or put themselves in a position to compete. They haven't had advantages in this series thus far. Oh, now a pacier hit in towards A, but again, it's going to be an opener going the way of the defense.
Hey, he's got to be perplexed that no one broke that dart.
Stay down.
Nice shot by Larocque as well. There's a rifle picked up with Filu on the floor. That was such a weird start to the round. Now, they can't let it slip by giving Hero mid-space. They cannot do it. This has been a problem so far on the defensive side. This man has been a problem. And now he steps into the double doors. No offers on that back sight, the pixel that, frankly, I can't even see through. That's so small. No doubt his reaction would be quick and clean if given the chance. For now, they just sit and wait. And then, you know, considering there's a player just tucked in on the right, Larocque waiting for Hero to round the corner. There is no need for further movement further back. Smokes going into main to slow this play even further. And now they'll look to battle their way out,
nice.
just as the eye is turned. Well done.
Even still, though, crossfire was enough. I think that was what they were waiting for. Just having that dart online to act as a distraction made it impossible for Larocque to hold the corner, but the trade's in. And another good round from the likes of Lovers Rock at the back of the site. He said he's been having a great series. Like, slower starts at times, but
One enemy remaining.
when he's on, and another man who's been on throughout the entirety of this map so far has been Loiter. Those are the two leading the charge. Slightly quieter from Kreven as well, and I think that's been one of the exploits for Na'Vi, is being able to get onto his B site, put him under pressure. He's left isolated quite often, but it seems like in this case they've given him a buddy. Well, he might be under pressure soon, because I don't know if they're going to want to push this operator.
Lock in sight.
Oh, they are. Larocque's gotten just out of there now, so there's backup a rifle and an op towards yellow, and that's going to be difficult to deal with. Exit just decides to bypass it, move into the site, but the Viper wall going down is going to cause issues. Planter spotted.
Planted.
The info there is a late wraparound through mid is going to catch Ruxic in that doorway. Ruxic does well to find one exit on another. Ruxic! He's not letting go of the double doors. And now as time ticks, those players... What? What are they doing? Exit's able to pick it up for free. They knew Ruxic could have been there, surely. But a bit surprised to hear the second. Maybe they even heard Ruxic's steps running away and thought that's got to be it. It could be a beautiful bait, but... I mean, Exit just got handed those kills on a platter. Only found one still.
I can only assume there must
Ninja?
have been some steps.
I'm out of here.
No, there's not enough time. He's just trying to bait them into the fight in the end, but he has an operator, so I'm not sure that was worth it. I don't know. Normally you say, like, you cut off your nose to spite your face. That's the saying. But he cut off his nose and didn't really do anything to anyone. It's just feels like a silly move altogether.
I think they heard the steps, man. That's so good from Exit to slip into that spot and to send Ruxic fleeing. Because normally from there you'd fight the 2vx fight, right? But that almost looks intentional from Navi. If it was, that's brilliant. 10 to 8 we go. Navi on double digit. Feel not again. It's the same spot, bro. The exact same fight.
I love that he still has an operator and Rose has a sheriff. Like that's where we're at. Oh, angle's still going to be checked. He's trying to hunt this down, trying to get aggressive. Kreven's done well. As said, he's been having a quieter game, but that seems to have turned.
Silence.
An instant headshot and a lot of damage done onto Cloric, but he is still standing, spike in hand. Cross to the site possible. I think he realizes that the operator could be watching him, so he's going to try and double back around to push through the spawn. Okay, this, of all the plays he could have made, this is the one that has me most intrigued, but his opponent has picked up a rifle, and it seems like Lover's Rock might have got this one spot on, the one position he could still be in, and a very good read in the end.
And we're down to a 1-round gap. Navi, the side who've gone missing on one half in each map so far, they seem to have slowed down. And of course, a timeout is called by Navi, not content with losing probably those fights, especially in mid. Like they can't be giving Lover's Rock instant man advantages for the squad. And obviously Kreven fighting a 3K, but I don't know what we're supposed to do about that. Like, don't let him pop off. That's kind of a tough one. The main crux of the round is losing part of that mid push and also losing part of the tip of the spear of that mid push, right? Like, you're so often going to want to see your Phoenix pushing up with the Neon the same way that they get out of the smoke in mid. They can invade into the B site. They can fight through the Viper wall or the orb or whatever's protecting them from that mid to B push. But when the Phoenix gets ripped out of the round, then you can't really do that. It's going to be a little harder to fight through those walls.
Navi, last chance in this map for Angel to check in with the team and maybe a last time in the series if they're not able to get this one over the line. The thing is, it has been isolated victories, and that means that they still come into this one strong economically. Interestingly, the operator has now been given over to LaRock, so I don't know if that's a positional thing or maybe just the plan. It looks like they might be about to try and go for some sort of crunch of their own.
Well, the start is strong. The B main aggression hasn't worked out in the past, but this time they have drawn first blood. Vilu falls as well, swinging from Cloric, and that's seeing that there's no one else in elbow. They're going to keep pressing forward past that smoke and seeing that space is being left. This gets a little dangerous. The read is now there for Navi, and BBL have no idea that they've just handed over that information and handed over the B site to Cloric. He's still very suspicious, being cautious, clearing, well, I wouldn't say every angle. That left side's been left open. But they are realizing that, yeah, their rotations have come in. The A side is where the stack is, and now a plant. In a 3v4, with an isolated player towards defender spawn, this could get very risky very quickly. BBL need to keep this game tight, but even then, now they have to fight through the Viper's pit. And to make it even worse, they have to fight through Rook's Viper pit.
He's got to try and find an angle to hide from. I think Hero, he's so low that it all comes down to timing. If he gets this backstab right, he wins them the round. He gets it wrong, and maybe he's a null factor. And you can see that there's clearly Lover's Rock looking for this. There goes the Viper. Hero's done incredibly well, though, exactly as said. And now Kreven is all that remains. It needs to be an instant shot, but it's Cloric on the site. 3 kills. A response immediately. Once again, no streak on this defensive side. And while a pause from one side, a pause from the other, this time Key will have a last chance to talk with his team.
I gotta be honest, Tom, it's not hard to imagine why. They took B main, they fought, they killed 2, and I think it was genuinely the second Filu died, they gave up the space. They just ran away. Smoked it late, didn't hold the space before the smoke, so those players have re-cleared it, see a smoke go down and go, oh, they're trying to make it look like they're holding the space, and they're not. It's the easiest play to the B site ever. It stops the A player from overextending. Maybe we would have seen Hero play much deeper, play more aggressive. And that can't be happening. They got to keep control of that space afterwards. But one small little slip up and Navi find themselves in prime position to bring us to another map to at least get split out. BBL called a timeout as this is more or less going to be their final stand.
Yeah, no, it needs to now be a streak of a few, otherwise at a minimum they're fighting for OT, but you alluded to, their economy's not really going to allow for another buy in the next round, especially not one with an operator, which one it has been one of the sort of good points of this defensive side. Of course, for LaRock, so impactful in the first couple of maps. We get to really see it here. Bladestorm could be the difference maker, and a very aggressive one of that. You can already see multiple players spotted heading in towards that B site. That's why he's immediately rotating in that direction, but I wonder if again it's been bait. They have fallen hook, line, and sinker a couple of times now. Oh, he's go all the way.
Exit's okay, got one. Fair enough. The B site fake working. Oh my god, they've not cleared Lloyd! Oh! He'll get 2! It could have been all 3, and Navi, after playing the round so well, they're in big trouble. The spike down on the A site, and a 12th round evades them. Unless Hero can be the man to fight this one back. 1 versus 3, and all holding his cross and every angle covered. There's no surprise for Hero, no element to lean on there. It's got to be heads up duels. And Lover's Rock, not an easy man to survive the first shot from. Rose almost goes down. He's 5 HP. One shot there would have taken him out. They know where Kreven is now as well. Hero has all the information to play with, and of all the players to put in this position, he's got to be one of the more reliable. Well, he's been shot in the back. 11 to 10.
There's good and bad. I think we all know the bad is not checking the angle you flash. The good, the fact that Loiter doesn't shoot a bullet. Like, that is just basically the, I'm dead. Either I go full spray and hope that I kill everyone, or I pray that they don't check it. And that's the one in a million. That's the one where you're gonna, if there was a coach cam, you'd have seen Angel slamming his head into the desk because you did the hard work. You've pulled the rotation, you made them go the wrong way, and then you just don't clear your corners.
Well, the spams there. Evidently, Filu could see him or just sense him. But it's enough either way. Caught in the back in the snake bite. Still surviving as the Phoenix ult just about runs out. And now Filu runs out of time. Challenging Rose is a big mistake these days. I don't know what his aim routine is, but he better drop it ASAP. They know exactly where Hero is. Like you said, they have seen him. Lover's Rock is the one that wants to put him down. Won't manage it for now, but the defuse is already through. 11 to 11. We really do have a game on our hands.
Yeah, but maybe not a series. BBL, of course, 2-0 up. They close out this map and they make their way to EWC in Paris. They claim the last spot from EMEA. And they join the likes of Heretics, Vitality, Carmine Corps, and of course the Gentle Mates.
No more.
Navi win this map and it's still in contention, but there's been a lot to be desired in the last couple of rounds. No more pauses. I'm sure Angel would love to have a pause in this moment. They have all been expended. Until overtime, no coach check-ins.
2 rounds left to play for. And it looks like BBL are thinking about some late mid aggression. Both duelists sending it out there. They won't see anything. Navi are still tucked in as players in main, ready for this push, but the crunch is coming through. Kreven about to walk around. There's a paranoia ready and needed as Exit can slip back around that corner. They don't think that Filu's already pushed up this much. It's a big misplay from BBL as they look to fight for mid, but Navi win every battle.
Question. Well, I think the question's been answered. I was going to say, do they even go for this? And I think the answer is a categorical no.
One down.
Especially with Larocque having the operator, it's something that you don't just want to be giving away. You can see the heroes already on the hunt. The realization that they aren't going to be going for this, but maybe wanting to keep their own economy strong rather than anything else. Still, OT at a minimum, or a map victory in the series. Could have taken it home in the last. OT seemed inevitable when Loiter stepped in for that clutch, but he managed to give that map over. The first time in this entire series thus far, Navi have a map point.
Yeah, I guess they're getting to remember what it's like to be in the lead. And right in the last moment as well, to steal that back from BBL and to avoid giving it over, I suppose. They've now been either in the lead or hitting those ties for quite a while. This map has had its fair share of tests, but they're keeping it together through them all. And one last push, and they'll at least get themselves to split. Haven needed as well for them to qualify to EWC, but it's one step at a time. Larocque under pressure. Oh, but he stands and waits on the box. Quick turnaround that wasn't expected, but Rose has gone down. Paranoia is not deep enough, and those players able to fade away, but Kreven on the other side of the map is taken to and dropped the spike. Yeah, we are not done yet. Not in the series, not in the map. 12-12. It's overtime time.
Switching sides.
Yeah, no, it felt like for maybe in the first time in the map, Navi tried to play with the rotations and it completely failed. I think Larocque surviving long enough maybe changed that factor, but Kreven didn't budge. He just waited on that B side of the map, so when they went running in, they get slaughtered, because every other time, and literally it's something we've been complaining about, every other time, they have gone. They've rotated quickly, grouped up, and tried to almost play that retake versus B. Instead, he sticks around and just domes both players as they walk into the site. I think Larocque also did fantastically well, not only to not die, but come out with 2 kills in that round. Both him and Kreven were having quieter performances, but as we always say, when it gets towards the late game, it's the rounds that matter. They have both helped bring home a round.
Now BBL on the attack. They move towards the A site, leaving a lurker outside of B. The drone heard already, the dash used, and in goes the dive. It's Ruxic who holds the line to start with. The dash up. Oh, he'll take Larocque out. The updraft serves no purpose here, evidently. As Rose on the wrap is spotted. That should be danger averted. And only one left, and not for long. Another chance for Navi to push us all the way to split on their attack.
Switching sides. Match point.
I think they'd be quite confident going into that map as well. It's one where they've had a pretty decent record on it, so getting there might just be the turning point of this series. 3 wins in a row, but of course one where
Last player still standing.
they didn't opt to pick it first. Maybe they wish they did, but the ascent could have easily been there if it wasn't for the incredibly slow start to that map.
I'm out of here.
They make it now. Maybe the reverse sweep is still possible, but that is assuming that this is the end of the map and not just the beginning of another overtime.
Deploying drone. Enemy tank.
Well, attackers have been spotted. funneling out into middle, but that mid fight wasn't good for BBL the last time they took it. And this time they will completely avoid that space, retreating to the site, holding passive, but it means that top mid and double doors are isolated fights. Same in A main, but you can see the double duelists moving to that double door where there's an op sitting and waiting. Good shot by Larocque. Stun is decent. And he's not going to hit the shot thanks to the flash. But another might be needed as he just bails out. Okay, the op gets the reset and the man advantage sits now, but not for long. As Hero finds that shot on site and keeps pressing forward. He's already wrapping deep and taking that control. They can get a plant out of this one. And this is a big risk. If Rose goes down, the round may be done. It would be a 4v2. But he's found the planter! Clark's planting in the open. What a mistake!
He's given them a way back into the round, but even still, a post plant ensues. Hero's now dealt with, found in the open as well. It doesn't even look like he was forced from that corner, just wanted to fight. Rooksik tries to save them again, but now it stands to one. Bilu looking to try and hold the line. Both players desperately low. Loiter is going to find the final kill. This man in late round scenarios has been a difference maker all the way through, and he will keep them going in this map.
What a bold play to start this retake as well for Rose, to go through that smoke, look for that deep backside play. That's somewhere that he could easily have been taken down, and the round almost certainly goes with him. But instead, he levels the playing field. Lover's Rock did remarkably well to get out, although fell immediately afterwards. But it is this from Rose. It's catching Cloric there when no one's watching. That started the dominoes falling, and I thought Loida made a mistake by being up top there, by not being able to trade so quickly, but again, that timing worked out perfectly in his favor. Now BBL go back to the attack. And again, A main will be a key point for this battle. The updraft dash out needed as Filu. This time, his utility has saved the life of his teammate, but he couldn't save himself. And Exit goes down with him. BBL, 2 kills to the good. Another as Kraven strikes on the back, trading out Larocque. And a 4v2 to set them up for match series at EWC main event point.
Rooksik and Hero. Safe to say you wouldn't want anyone else in this scenario. Rooksik has managed to time things incredibly well. Kraven is constantly checking, but the second he uses his utility, maybe he's going to get caught. He will. That brings it back into contention. They need to reaggress, and they've been caught by Hero. Even still, though, it goes down to just one. Rooksik with that time ticking against him, and both players sat at the backside. Both players waiting together, just jiggle peeking, and all they have to do is play with the time, but it's Lover's Rock again. Another addition to what has been a sublime performance. And now, as you said, qualification point on the line for BBL. It is up to Na'Vi to win this round, win this map, and win 2 more after. Otherwise, they will not be heading to Paris.
It has been a long, long road for Na'Vi to make it here. They came through Phase 1, defeating Pacific, defeating KC, a team who has since qualified to the main event. And let me tell you, Na'Vi didn't just beat them. They absolutely ruined them. 13-4 and 13-3. That game qualified them to the main event here. To Phase 2, I should say. The main event being a little bit later on in Paris. And in Phase 2, the lower bracket run of Dreams, Team Liquid, Fnatic, Bested, and yet all of that could amount to nothing. 1 round lost here, and it will be a 3-0 blowout as they are sent out of contention and forced to watch not just Masters, but EWC from home as well. It could be a long, long downtime for Na'Vi, despite being so very close to achieving their goals.
At the time with Angel, of course, OT meant another pause was available, but
Toxins going.
This is a tough way to fight back, and it's not getting any easier. Filu gone within the first couple of seconds. A switch up of positions for Lover's Rock. Even in OT, they are not becoming predictable. moving their double duelist, moving their double controller. They've literally swapped the sides they've been playing on, I would say, for the majority of that defensive side, just to make things that little bit more tough for Na'Vi to read. They are still going to commit to this side, though, but they have to be careful of this operator. It has been a problem for them, but also there is a second layer. There is a second player, but maybe that second player is irrelevant. Already, Lovers Rock putting a second on the board, and the swing from LaRock is so well timed. Hero is fighting, battling, brawling to try and keep them in this map, but they still haven't planted just yet.
And LaRock knows his back is covered, or at least it was. Now he has to check it as they close the distance, but now buddies are covering, so he can worry about Hero. He needs to worry about Hero, who's just around that corner. 35 seconds, and Hero needs to move. That spike needs to be planted. It's time to strike. Reveal goes in. LaRock looking the other way, but Hero's being spotted by Loida. The backup was there. The paranoia perfect on site. Hero's the only line of defense now for his teammate Cloric. And as Cloric strikes one after another, Kreven has been hiding, waiting, biding his time. 15 to 13 and 3 to 0. BBL have made it on the long road to EWC.
Yeah, it was a blitz at the start of the year where they were one of, if not the best team in EMEA. A slowdown in stage 1 where Masters London sadly evaded them, but they have risen back to the top, and they've gone the long way at that to make it all the way to EWC in Paris. They will play another event on an international stage, and I'm sure they're going to be over the moon, but it has to be said for Na'Vi, it is gutting. A tough loss both times in a very close manner, at least over the last couple of maps. And the fact that they lose 13-11 to a clutch and then lose it in a 1v1 right at the end there, it is a brutal way for this game to slip away for them. And even though it's solid signs, I don't think anybody's going to care when you're not at the event.
Yeah, and you know, my heart really does break, because I think today, regardless of who went out, I was going to be sad to see them go. For Na'Vi, Cloric as an IGL has been growing and looking better and better individually. He looks like a very solid player as well, but more so Ruxic and Hero. Seeing those two guys at an international event, seeing them make a name for themselves out there is what I've been craving now for a long time, and we're going to have to wait that little bit longer. But to celebrate the team that has made it, it's always going to be sad to say goodbye, but it's always good to say hello, as now BBL will be making it to the EWC. We will see Rose leading this squad, who again started this journey in Valorant in their bedrooms less than 2 years ago. They were you and I joining the ranked ladder, Tom, and now look how high they've flown.
Slightly younger. I think I'm a little bit too
yes,
washed, but
yes.
Yeah, no, they're definitely the same age as you. Maybe
Ballpark,
on a
ballpark. You know, circle it.
Yeah, no.
I
had to break this to you. You're closer to my age than you are to theirs. But
I'll say
anyway,
that.
it is a huge victory for them, and I think as well, like, the big thing for me, Lovers Rock performance in this final was the Lovers Rock that we saw on the Yoru. It was a guy that genuinely took over maps, genuinely will, I think, end this game as the highest fragger in the whole server. Someone who was doing it with the operator, had that crazy movement, had that aggression, and still basically caused teams mass amount of issues. And if that's the guy we get going to Paris, I'm excited that this team could do damage, because you have to bear in mind that they went to like mega OT versus the champions winner of last year when they played over in Santiago. They then lost to G2. Like, those were the two teams that defeated them. Now, going into a different meta where they've had lots of time to sort of fix things, and they will have lots of time until they play at the beginning of July. I don't know. I think that this is a good opportunity to show teams that, okay, yeah, it took us time to adapt, not having Yoru anymore, but we're back.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the thing. This was the narrative for BBL constantly, was going to the international, coming back to a meta change, and not having time to make the changes, to make the adaptations. Now they have that. And even with limited enough time, and again, we've talked about this qualifier, people are moving on to the new meta now. You're still practicing old meta. It gives those limitations. It means you can practice less. There's less teams you can practice against as well, because you try booking scrims on this meta, most people don't want to, because they already moved along.
They can move on to the new one with everyone in London, though. That's the good thing about it being in London. They now get all the good practice of all the teams coming over here.
Yeah, they'll have to be this is actually huge because they're going to get to make a name for themselves again with, you know, new teams as well, with so many new faces coming over, so everybody can fear the Forza BBL. Really, Tom, this has been so much fun to watch these teams play and to see new teams rise from the ashes of VCT. Like the fact that KC looked awful there, and then they're actually, despite being beaten by Navi in phase 1, they're the ones to make it to the main event instead of Navi. What a wild ride it has been. Mates, KC, and of course BBL going through from this qualifier, making it through the road. And we can take a look at the bracket and how we got here, Tom, because there certainly were some surprise results when we talk about this. I think both Fnatic losses were a shock to most people's systems, and I'm only noticing now that BBL's opening game was against Fnatic, and they've outlived them as well.
Yeah, no, it seems like Na'Vi did everybody a favor, but so did KC. So yeah, I think Eternal Fire dropping was a little bit surprising. Liquid obviously not making another international, but their circumstances were one that I think we can give the exception to. You know, your player has an appendix removed. It's going to be a tough day at the office.
Fair
but yeah,
enough.
Fnatic not making it to another event this year is a shock, and also it's a redemption arc for both Mates and BBL. The teams that we sent over to Santiago have made it back to make it to EWC. So I think that we're sending a lot of variation in our teams. I think for BBL, obviously as an organization, this will be the second year in a row that they went. Same for Heretics as well. But the other two is obviously they're going to be their first time making it to EWC. So I think that, be it in Paris, it's only fair that we get ourselves a little bit of extra French flair coming from the organizational side. But then also we've got those teams that were there at the beginning of the year. So I think we're sending a good mix. Sure, I'm sad that Fnatic aren't going because they were in the final last year, and it's sad not to see them get a chance to redeem themselves. But I think for the other teams, they're really going to be gunning for this event.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, this is going to be one of the focal points. Let's not forget, I believe the prize pool it's, you know, I've got a couple of these prize pools laying around here. I think it's $2 million. I would get it out as an example, but I can't find it right now. But it's quite a bit of cash that is up for grabs for these squads. And I think that even outside of that, what often means the most to these squads is making a name for yourself on that international scene, is playing against the best in the world. It is valuable experience, and for BBL, that's experience that they already have, and now they get to build on that as a team that, like we said not long ago, they were just 5 dudes playing ranked, playing Premier, and seeing how far this journey could go, and we're still seeing how far they can make it, regardless of what event it's in. So always a pleasure to watch. And Tom, it is always a pleasure to watch Valorant alongside you. But you know what? It's been kind of a short day actually compared to yesterday. Can we get another BO3 going? No, they said absolutely not. Okay, sorry.
We're done.
Okay, apparently some people want to go home, whatever. Okay, well, I guess we can wrap it up there, folks. Look, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for tuning in to the road to EWC. Tom, thank you for joining me from the back rooms. Great promo for the new flick, and we will catch you at the main event in EWC in Paris. See you soon, folks.
目指していこうドキドキしようよ準備快適早もう止まらないこの世界を楽しんでみた瞬間
Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.ドキドキしようよ準備